This is November. Good evening. Welcome, everybody, to the November meeting, regular meeting of the Washington Quorum Court Finance and Budget Committee. First order is J.P. Dean will lead us in prayer and pledge.
Heavenly Father, I'd like to take this time to thank you for all the things that you've provided for us and the needs that we have you've taken care of. And I ask for the wisdom and knowledge to make the right decisions for the people of Washington County. I ask you to look over everybody. Thank you. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, J.P. Dean. Next item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? J.P. Lemon?
I'd like to move item 18 up to, let's move it up to above number 9.
Okay, so item 18 to 9. I got a motion by J.P. Lemming, a second by J.P. Dennis. Discussion? J.P. Ecke?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Could you give an explanation to why?
I just think there's some people here that might want to go home early.
Any other discussion? Okay, so I have a motion by J.P. Lemming to move 18 to 9, a second by J.P. Dennis. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Passes. I'll entertain a motion to adopt. So moved. So I have a motion for J.P. Lemming to adopt the amended agenda, a second by J.P. Dean. All those in favor, aye? Aye. All those opposed? Okay. Item 4, Treasurer's Report. Treasurer Hill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
4.1, Treasurer's Financial Summary. Always look at general first. As per usual, the expenditures are come in over the revenue. Started the month at 14.8, ended with 13.3. We did get our November settlement, and so that general end balance currently is right around 20 million. So down to 2000 road, revenues and expenditures were about the same. Jail, 1.9 in revenue and 2.6 in expenditures. At the end of this report, we started the month with 84 million in the bank and ended with 84.8. 4.2 is the ARPA report. Month of October, we spent about 1.6 million, and we still have 4.9 remaining in that fund. 4.3, the property taxes, general fund, October 2.7 million came in. And that's last year at the same time, 2.4 million, so we're still up. For the year, we're up 9.8%. And again, this current month in November, we got in 8.1 million. It doesn't show here, but we got in 8.1 million as opposed to 7.4 last year. 4.4, the 1 cent sales tax. We brought in 987,000. That's 6.74% above last year. And for the year, we're at 5.73. 4.5, the quarter-cent jail tax. Brought in 1.5 million. That's over 7% better than the same time last year. And as far as dollar-wise, we're 915,000 ahead of this same point in 2024. That's all I have.
Any questions for Treasurer Hill? Thank you, Treasurer Hill.
Thank you.
Item 5, Employees Insurance Fund. Mr. Angel.
Good evening. All right, well, we'll start with the cash flow as usual. You'll see we did actually tick down a little bit once again. 702,689 was our total cost last month, which is about 67,000 below where we were the month before. You see we had a very large rebate of just a little over 243,000 come in. We're still trending hotter than we were last year, although this was, our third best month of 2025. We still came in about $80,000 hotter than we were in 2024. We just have some more claimants now, and you'll also see that we have more total members covered. You see we started the year at 578 employees on the plan. In the last 2 months, we've had 621 and 620. So that will drive up the cost when we have more employees covered on the plan. Once we look at the stop loss, as we know, we got a rather large stop loss check a couple of months ago for $543,000. But we also have the aggregate stop loss, and we continue to tick down on percent towards expected claims. We were at about just a little over 160% last month. Now we've ticked that down to 155.92. And as we've learned with the aggregate stop loss, we must also back out any rebates that we get from the pharmaceutical side, as well as specific stop loss reimbursements. So if the year were to just end today, we would not have an aggregate stop loss claim, which is a good thing. We would still be about $100,000 under that. We wish we were further under it, but we're not at the point where we would hit that attachment point, which is good. It means we have not hit worst case scenario.
Any questions for Mr. Angel? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Item 6, Comptroller's Report. Mr. Sherman.
Good evening. We'll talk about the fun stuff later, the budget and all the details on that. This is just a statement of operations. We're 83% through the year, and there's nothing really that sticks out to me. Only 72% spent in the general fund, so we're going to come under budget. I would say probably anywhere between $2 and $3 million on the general fund. The only fund that I'm kind of worried about or budget is, of course, the health insurance. We're at 91% there. We'll probably have to do something on that. The account is still, I'm watching it closely. It's below $1 million. But as you know, we put in for next year, we're going to contribute $1,000 a month per employee that takes health insurance. So that's going to bump our budget up to 1.2 million more. So it's over 10 million now. That's going to be a 20% increase in our health insurance cost. So it's just something that everybody's dealing with on all levels of government, and especially being self-insured. So we'll have to look at that. There's a couple smaller funds that are over. We'll clean those up next month with an ordinance. I just want to do that all at once. They're usually small amounts. So is there any questions on the statement of operations? Okay, so the next fund is just the unappropriated reserve balance. Right now, the unappropriated reserve balance for the general fund is $2.5 million. We had one ordinance last month, which was $506,000, and that was for the CAP program. So over this year, all the ordinances that were passed, the change to the general fund including the general reserve fund there, was about 2.2 million, that 1.5 plus the 775,000. So, looking good there. Is there any questions on that? We can talk about all the fun stuff later.
Thank you, sir. Item 7 is a presentation for the Beaver Watershed Alliance. Ms. Rourke is here to present, I believe.
Good evening. How do I see in the presentation? Over here. Thank you for having me this evening, and we'll try to be brief, but we're here to request funds to continue our partnership for source water protection for the Beaver Lake watershed and our drinking water source, Beaver Lake. So I might step a little to the side so I can see a little bit, if that's okay. Okay, so this is about working together for not only clean water, but also.
Oh,
Mike,
thank you.
is that better?
You can move in front at the podium, just move the mic.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate being able to see it. So this is about not only protecting clean water, but also protecting productive lands here in Washington County. So, how do we? There we go. So what I want to cover this evening is to really reintroduce Beaver Lake to you all that may be new to the area or unfamiliar. I'd like to talk about the Washington County scope of work for fiscal year 26, and then also talk about what's on the horizon, what's next. So Beaver Lake is now serving 1 in 5 Arkansans. We have over 600,000 people here in Northwest Arkansas. This lake is a drinking water source too. The watershed is mostly forested with some pasture and a growing urban area, and covers over 1,200 square miles. And just for context, you can see the county outlines there. So Washington County next to Madison County, Benton County. And about 30% of the Beaver Lake watershed is within the Washington County area. And that includes the entire West Fork watershed area. Most of the green shaded area is the Middle Fork. Purple is the East Fork. And then you have Richland Creek and War Eagle are your major watersheds that drain to the lake. Where do I point this? Where am I pointing this? Okay. All right, one back. Okay, and also in this watershed, we have some impaired waterways. So those are streams that are not meeting their designated uses. So most of the West Fork is on that 303D list and impaired, and there are sections of the Middle Fork that have been added this past year. Every 2 years, they create the 303D list at the state of Arkansas, Department of Environmental Quality. The Beaver Lake watershed and the Illinois River watershed are both priority watersheds for the state of Arkansas and the non-point source management plan. And as you know, the Tri-County area is the fastest growing area in Arkansas, and we are preparing for 1 million people by 2045. So anything that we can do to protect our drinking water source is going to be really critical and important now. So our scope of work includes sediment and nutrient reduction activities. And when I say nutrients, I mean phosphorus and nitrogen. So phosphorus is the main contributor for algae and algae blooms and harmful algae blooms. That if they get our drinking water source, they can be toxic to humans, animals, wildlife, those things. So anything we can do to reduce nutrients and sediment, all the dirt going into the lake, is really what our goal is. We also focus on education and outreach, planning analysis, and stewardship. Okay, so thank you for being patient here. All right, so some of the main things that we can do to reduce sediment and nutrients are best management practices like what you see on the screen. These are a lot of practices that are working here in the Ozarks. We're doing these on both private properties as well as in cities and counties on various projects. And really, these are in partnership with landowners, producers, and communities. And these are all voluntary. So people are doing this on their own time and their own property. And the Alliance is really growing in our technical services. So we can go out and provide conservation management planning for a parcel, a land parcel for a private landowner or a community. We provide GIS and drone work now. We can do aerials and look at stormwater accumulation and how water flows across a property. We can help provide plans for invasive plant removals, how to establish a riparian. The whole list there are things that we all do in-house. So we also work with partners to do larger projects like stream bank restoration and larger projects that involve heavy machinery and things like that. But technical assistance really is our bread and butter for the Alliance. And I was just looking back at our database, and since 2017, we've assisted over 424 landowners in Washington County. 28 of those were just in 2025, so I thought that was pretty amazing. And we do keep track of this database to look at trends and also just build an inventory of what the needs are for when we do have an opportunity for a grant or a partnership. So we also have landscape scale initiatives like the War Eagle Regional Conservation Partnership Program. That's happening now. It's $5 million going to farmers to implement cost share practices across their farms. And we're doing some large stream bank work I'll show you in a moment. So this is one of them. If y'all are familiar with Joe Rollins and his family, their bank is one of the worst banks on this river, on the War Eagle. Happens to be in the Washington County area too, just near the Gar Hole. So the Rollins family, we worked with them. They approached us many years ago about their farmland just washing away. We started doing some stream bank assessments and found out how much soil they were actually losing. They were losing about 5,000 tons or 7 acres per year. So we started down the road of applying for grants, and this RCPP project, the $5 million, really came in to help correct his bank. So his was a big resource concern, and right now I'm proud to say that they're out there with machinery now fixing his bank, and when it's done, we're gonna have 5,000 tons of sediment reduced from going into the lake and 3,700 pounds of phosphorus. So this is a very large stream bank. You can see that's an aerial we took of the cut banks there. And then the next picture is what it looks like right now. They're creating wetlands and planting trees and correcting that bank and all those. So this is the power of partnership. Whenever we have groups like Washington County, Madison County coming together, landowners, these are the kinds of things that we can achieve here. So the other things that we are doing is identifying low water crossings, culverts, bridges across streams and waterways. We've assessed over 270 of those in the watershed already. A lot of those are in Washington County. And we've assessed a lot of unpaved roads. So if you're looking to do or prioritize unpaved road projects, we would be happy to work with you to look at that data. We have a ton of data for Washington County to help make decisions. So, and then as far as education and outreach, part of our scope of work, we provide a lot of landowner workshops. We're gonna conduct 5 workshops in 1 year. We're going to continue to reach out and send newsletters to all the landowners in the watershed. We conduct an annual water conference with partners in July. We conduct Lakes Appreciation Month in July with the governor's proclamation. And we try to develop at least 2 fact sheets. One of them right now that we're developing is about in-stream permitting. So any landowner that's unsure about how to navigate permits whenever they're trying to do something in their stream, this is going to be a resource to help do that. So And then educational signage across the watershed, so source water protection signage, to raise that awareness of place and our drinking water. So we've recently adopted a way to quantify our metrics as well. So we'll be providing a report on an annual basis on that sediment and nutrient reductions. And we're proud to say this past year, the cumulative amount was over 6,000 tons of sediment reduced just on projects that we did or did with partners in the watershed. And then you can see that bottom right number, the 376,000 number, those are all the projects since 2011. So that equates to about 75,000 dump truck loads of sediment not going into Beaver Lake. Okay, and then we're gonna continue efforts towards the acceptance of an updated strategy. So we do have a watershed protection plan in place that's being updated. We're gonna work towards finalizing that. And we do some water quality sampling out on Brush Creek. And we do 2 cleanups each year on Haverton Road as well. So we like to coordinate with the county on that cleanup. So I thought this was interesting. So the county has helped support the Alliance since 2013 that I'm aware of. There may be records before that, but since 2013, you all have helped provide $113,000 towards source water protection. And that's been leveraged to over $43 million coming in for projects. So again, the power of partnership and the collective efforts really do make a difference. So without your funds really do help us to leverage and get those grants and those larger projects. So, oh, and I just wanted to point out that you can see about 76% of that goes to on the ground best management practice implementation. Okay, so just to wrap up here, this is what we're looking at ahead. These are all of our new grants that are coming in. So we're gonna be very busy. We have some work to do on stream banks and assessing more stream bank barriers. We are gonna be modeling flooding and stormwater hotspots across the watershed. We hope that's helpful information for the counties and cities. We have a new community tree project with Beaver Water District and the Arkansas Forest and Drinking Water Collaborative. There's a tree nursery. We're growing trees to go plant those out on banks. A farmer-to-farmer grant that's going to be studying biochar with farmers, and a grant with the Nature Conservancy to do more and for more projects that have to focus on karst regions. And workforce development grant with the CPRG, that's a statewide grant you all may be aware of. And we'd like to also look at renewing the War Eagle Creek RCPP because there's still a lot of need out there. A lot of farmers are still needing help with their practices out there. And then the last one I'm really excited about is this regional task force. And this is all about helping communities, helping counties to navigate your policies and what's enabling smart growth or not enabling smart growth. And then also providing some technical manuals that have specifications in them for your drainage criteria manuals, things like that. So the regions coming together, the Extension, Illinois River Watershed Partnership, Northwest Arkansas Regional Planning Commission, a lot of us are coming together on this smart growth thing, and so this will be a next step. So we are in a proposal phase for that. And, oh, this was just to give you an idea, kind of a snapshot of that hotspot modeling. This will be just kind of a sample of that. So all the red and orange areas are your hotspots in the watershed. So those are the areas that you might look at prioritizing resources and projects. So, to wrap up here, just again, I want to drive home. It really takes partnerships to do this work, and the Alliance, we're excited to have the Washington County be a part of the Alliance, and thank you for your consideration to support us for another year. I believe that is it. Happy to help with any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you.
So, oh, I'm sorry. Somebody sneaking in the back end.
Thank you, Chair. A lot of these creeks, and I know the state's real hard on it and the government's real hard on it, is a lot of these creeks, if we'd let them dredge them, let them get the gravels and stuff out of the middle of them, it'd keep the water in the middle and it'd keep it off the banks to keep that erosion down. How do we approach the state or whoever we need to approach to talk about dredging?
Yeah, just gravel management in general is a big deal.
Yeah, because if you let that gravel stay in there, next thing you know, it's full of trees, and next thing you know, it's all over in the fields and farms, and if you can go down on 45 highway and you can see evidence of where the state's rebuilding a bridge because of the fact the gravel's been in the bridge, and now it's washed the road out, and now it's caused a lot of trouble, and all that settlement and all that's been washed down Barrenford, and it's headed over to Oklahoma and stuff. So
Yeah.
I think we really need to push to dredge these creeks, and even if we have to use a drag line to not get machinery in the water, I believe that's something that needs to be looked into and researched quite a bit.
Yeah, we had a conversation with Farm Bureau on that not too long ago. And I think there's interest in studying this at the Ozark region scale, like in our area. There's a lot of historical information on gravel mining and how to manage gravel, the effects and impacts of gravel moving, but it really needs to all be put into a paper and, reviewed. So we can't say one way or the other that it's good or bad to do it yet. I don't have enough data to really say that, but I will say that we definitely have enough historical information we could look at and should look at, so. Yeah. Yeah. We have a wetter, warmer weather right now, so, yeah. Yep. Thank you.
Any other questions? J.P. Pond.
I don't want to make this have to be a long answer.
Excuse me, J.P. Pond, can you pull your mic down, please?
Do we, can I get some kind of paper or report on how you address the gravel roads as far as them being, or you may have some kind of short answer?
For unpaved roads,
Yes.
yeah, we have some fact sheet resources on that, on how, some best management practices to use on unpaved roads. Is that what you're looking for?
I believe so.
Okay,
Yes.
I'd be happy to get those to
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Allen, can she share that with you and you get it to all of us, please? Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Any other questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all so much.
Item 8, we have Ms. Shackelford from the Children's Safety Center to start our discussion on that subject.
Thank you for having me tonight. I am the Executive Director for the Children's Safety Center, and we serve all of Washington County. And I just want to point out real quick that most of our team is here tonight, back here. And they're all the ones that do the hard direct service for the children in our county. For those who may not know, we're set up as a child advocacy center, and we have been here for 28 years in Washington County, and our newest location is in Springdale, right off of I-49, directly south of Arvest Ballpark. So we are more centrally located now for all of law enforcement that we work with. And as an advocacy center, children are brought when allegations of child abuse have happened. And over 80%, almost 90% of the cases we see, the children coming in, those allegations are child sexual abuse, and physical abuse, maltreatment. So they're brought to the center. We provide those immediate crisis services. and we provide the forensic interview. So we have trained staff who's specifically trained to interview children. We provide on-site forensic medicals if needed. We have advocates who, you know, are the heart of our center, and they greet the child when they arrive, and they walk through the whole investigation with the children. And when it goes to court, they're with the child, there to support them. We have a mental health team who provides very specific modules of therapy. And we also do a lot of prevention and education training out into the community. And all of our services are free. And I can tell you just today, one of our prevention and education staff was at a school and did a training and had a child come up and disclose abuse. So we see that a lot. We helped over 700 children in 2024, and right now we're around 750 children, and it's November 12th. So we are hoping to have support from Washington County for the work we do. We are losing funding through federal grants, and we'll start 2026 with 435,000 less funds. And so we have started, we started planning, earlier in the year, and are doing different outreaches. And this was one that we did with Judge Deakins to hopefully have support, because we do help all the children in our community. We work with all of law enforcement. We work with the prosecutor's office. We're kind of the go-between to keep the child, making sure their needs are met, that they're safe, that the parents, the caregivers, they know the next process, the next step. Is the child in therapy? Does the child need to come to the center for therapy? And the biggest thing is all of our services, even therapy, are free to the families. And so we provide these services from, like a nonprofit, from fundraisers, from donors in our community, from grants. So that is why we are here tonight, hopefully to have your support in the work we do. Because these children, what we see and what that staff hears and does every single day, it's amazing. And they're helping children begin their healing process so that they can become, working citizens in our community, and they're not going to let that abuse define them. That's why we're here. And children should be a priority in our community.
Any questions or any comments, any other discussion? JP Ecke?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick comment. Thank you so much. And I support you. I support the children.
Thank you.
I mean, we need to invest in them.
Thank you.
As much as possible. Share with me a little bit of your relationship with Into the Light and how you all work together.
Yes, we
I mean,
collaborate.
This has been
Yes.
something that's come up recently.
Right.
And very pleased to hear the collaboration that was going on and the success stories
Yes.
behind that. Could you elaborate a little bit?
Yes, I know that our advocates sometimes will refer children that have been trafficked, or there's signs of possible they could be trafficked in the future. And so they will refer the child to a lot of community resources. And one of those is Into the Light. And sometimes children that have come through the center have an advocate from Into the Light. So, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's great. The reason I bring this up is also there are other organizations, there's groups, and y'all are all working together.
Yes, we
To
are.
achieve the same goal, and that is to help the most vulnerable out there and to deliver them from the darkness that they're in and
The trauma.
the trauma and help them heal.
Yes.
It's very emotional. It's hard to hear the stories of some of these children, but some of their testimonies need to be heard
Yes.
to wake people up to what is going on. Open your eyes and see, and look into our little children's faces. So
Yes.
thank you. It's very harrowing what y'all are doing.
Thank you. And we know if they get to the center, then we can step in and help them begin healing. And so we know we can make a difference.
JP Ricker?
Thank you, Chair. I've worked with the Child Safety Center since they've come into existence. Their interviews and their forensics are worth their weight in gold. I guarantee you, there's not a police department in this county that doesn't think the world of them and use their services just about daily. And I'll be supporting this whenever this ordinance comes up.
Thank you.
Other questions, other comments? Any other discussion? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
So the next item is remove number 18 to be in front of 9. Item 18 is an ordinance establishing the daily fee charged to municipalities for housing prisoners in the county jail. JP Lemming, you want to?
Thank you, Chair. Well, we figured out how to get the mayors to come see us tonight, didn't we? Well, we all know we've got a problem down at the jail. We all know that we're going to have to continue working with our neighbors and with our cities to come up with solutions. I want to thank the judge for doing what he's done and taking the abuse and this quorum court, that the abuse that we've took to just get the COVID mitigation deal going on. But for long, we're not going to have any of that COVID money, and all that's going to dry up. And when we get that open, we're going to have to put people in there to take care of the people that's going to be added to that. And we're going to have to come up with different funding methods to fund that jail. And this might not be this number here, this $80, and this setup might not be what we work out, but I believe all of the cities and the judge and us quorum court members, I believe that we need to really start working on this, because we've got a big problem down there. Every time we have a meeting, people sit out in the audience and they holler about people sleeping on cots, not in a steel bunk bed, and it's getting old. And I've been listening to it for about 6 years now that I've been on the court. So one reason for this daily rate is, and I'm not telling the police officers, they're doing a wonderful job, and I would never want to tell them not to bring somebody to jail, but this might help the population in the jail a little bit if we can just find them and send them on down the road, or we could figure out different methods to keep people out of the jail. That might help on that a little bit. And the daily rate, I think, will help that some. And so I think we need to go to studying this thing pretty hard. And I know it's budget time, and I didn't have no intentions to try to get this hurried through and passed through, but what I want to do is get this in everybody's eyes, give them 6 or 7 months to study it, and let's look at maybe summing back about, I want to open it up for discussions and get everybody's opinions, but I would like to, let's do that if we could.
Okay.
And kind of get it open on the floor and let people talk about it, and we'll see what we think. Thank you.
Comptroller Shurman, you provided me some information today on the budget for '23 and where the monies were coming from. Can you share that with the entire court, please?
Might rely.
rely on Treasure Hill too. But, so the quarter cent sales tax, that's the majority of the money that comes in. I think it's about 14, 15 million. And then the federal government pays some, the state pays various, fees to us for housing prisoners. We get reimbursed 309, for them. So like just for 23, that figure, the $80.52, that comes off the audit that we get every now and then from the state. So that is true cost. That includes depreciation, it includes everything. Now, that quarter cent sales tax, if you look at it broken across municipalities, you know, you can argue that the municipalities pay their fair share. But I think what Justice Lemming is getting at is if we need to expand, which we probably do, we need to come up with a, you know, different method of reimbursement. Right now, what happens is there's 200,000 that gets broken out over each municipality based on population. I think that was, the intent of that was to try to cover down if there's any loss in the jail, if we're having to dig into county general funds. So far, we have not had to do that, but as you know, cost of everything's going up, the health care for the detainees, meals. So I'm not sure what the methodology should be. I just educated myself today on it. It could be that we look at that figure, that 200,000 every year, and see the difference of if we're having to kick in more than what we actually have that is coming into the jail, then we could do the same scenario over population. If you look at 23 on our last audit, I think it was $22 million it cost us to operate the jail, and we brought in about 21 point some million. Probably running on carryover, maybe COVID money or whatever might be the carryover that was covering that 500,000. So that's one methodology. I'm not really sure which methodology. Like I said, I just really educated myself on the whole process today. So.
Thank you, sir. JP Lemming, I was reminded that we need a motion on the floor to discuss this. To pass? Okay. Thank you. No. Sorry, I missed it. JP Ecke?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do believe we need to have a conversation regarding this. So thank you, Justice Lemming, for bringing it forth for discussion and consideration. However, this is late for 2026 budget, that you've made that clear. We're not going to put that on there. Number two, if this might be a question for the council, but it's my understanding that this fee can only be used for maintenance and operation. It cannot be used for expansion, because that's like the quarter cent. It'd be like in the quarter cent sales tax. And the quarter cent sales tax has specific appropriations for that use, correct? And so this would be like that. We can't use it for any kind of expansion, correct? Okay, I think that's something that we need to further research on that. And lastly, I will say that the rate for most of the municipalities is way too high. I do believe that when we had this discussion before with the mayors, gosh, what was it, 6 years ago, it was at about a $40 to $42 rate that we were paying. So let's look at what is feasible for the municipalities and gather that data and go forward on that. And be clear, what is this fee going to be used for? I think it's only maintenance and operation and not any kind of expansion. Thank you.
So can I clarify one thing? You say what this fee earlier, I think you said this fee can only be used for operations. Are you talking about?
Maintenance and operations.
What's in the ordinance? I mean, the quarter-cent sales tax, yeah, I agree with
Yeah,
that. Are you talking about the
state-
200,000 that's in the ordinance today, or the contract today? I'm just trying to
Well, we
understand
can't
which
enter
piece
into any
you're-
contract with any municipality. That is up to the county judge. That's his authority.
No, I understand.
Mine is, this is gonna be like the quarter-cent sales tax. It's a fee that's collected.
So this, what you're saying is this fee would only be able to be used for operations?
That's my understanding.
Okay.
That's what I was asking. We need to clarify this
Okay.
to understand more clearly.
No, and I appreciate that. I just trying to make sure I had the right piece of what you were referencing. Yes, sir.
So I will have to look into this to do a little bit more research, but these daily fees also include what we're paying in salaries. So I think it could supplement some of that. I don't know that we could, do a standalone addition. I'll look into that. The difference in the maintenance and operation fees that are currently in place, which was passed back when the county passed the tax to build the jail back in the early 2000s, when it did so, it passed this maintenance and operation fee tax that is very specific. Anytime you do a bond, anytime you do a tax revenue bond like we did with our radio system, like we did with the jail, those funds, the money that you collect, they're very specific about what that can be used for. So that's going to be a little bit different possibly than this daily fee. I've not looked into that. Certainly I can get back with you all on kind of what the law says about what you can do. But I don't know that I would just say maintenance and operations. I think it goes into salaries. I mean, unless you consider that part of the operations, it would go into some things like that. But I don't know that it would allow like the build out of additional jail beds or anything like that. But I'll get back with the.
Thank you.
Treasurer Hill and I were talking, we think the quarter-cent sales tax could be used for expanding, but there's no extra. It's like we're tapped out, you know what I mean? It's not gonna, so.
Can you
There's
talk?
no expansion gonna go on because there is no money to expand.
Can you talk to where the $80 figure comes from? I think that comes from an audit and via AAC of what they see the cost.
Yeah, legislative audit, what they do is they come in every so often and they ask us for everything. And it includes depreciation, it includes salary, everything in there. And then what they do is they say, okay, what percentage of the days for detainees are state employees, or not employees, but detainees? And it was 20% in 2003. And then they go ahead and divide that number by 20% of the total. So really, it is the true figure, if you do the math, to hold a detainee, no matter who they are, is $80.52.
Thank you, sir. I meant to do this before we started discussions, and I apologize to my colleagues. I think I've been lax as a chairman in ordinance 2019-04. It states each member of the quorum court may speak about an ordinance twice for a maximum of 5 minutes each team. Really haven't been tracking it, have been looking at it. I think we've had some that exceeded. So I'm going to try to be better at tracking that for everybody. I didn't want to surprise anybody, because we haven't been doing it, but it's something we probably should do because it is part of our ordinance of how we operate. JP Lopez?
Thank you, Chair. I did want to discuss here, because as we look at Arkansas Code 1241-506, the very first article is, in the absence of an agreement on jail costs between a county and all municipalities having law enforcement agencies in the county or the quorum court, it's basically if we have no agreement on how we've already been splitting costs, which I don't believe we have a formal agreement, but I do believe that there is an obvious informal agreement that has existed for a time, which is when there is a shortfall between the cost of running the jail and the actual budget that we've set aside for it, that shortfall is then proportionally distributed to the municipalities based on their proportion of the total body of inmates that we've had. I think that for us to jump to superimposing our own idea of an agreement, we should probably look at the agreement that we seem to have already have. We should either look at formalizing that before we go and try to just say, hey, this is what we think we should do, and then do that. Please, counsel, if you have a comment.
So yes, that, honestly, I'd forgotten about that ordinance. I remember this all happened in 2019 when we entered into these agreements. And so I went back today and I found that ordinance, which is probably what we should have amended. My apologies, JP Lemming, when you asked for this. But the ordinance that we have sets a daily rate.
Gotcha.
But says that, you know, basically the cities will pay that daily rate unless they contract otherwise with the county. And so you're right, there is a daily rate that was already set in that, and it's at that $42 mark, somewhere around there, which there was a lot of argument back then about what that actual rate was. And so the number that was put into this ordinance was the number provided by the Association of Counties, who does this for every county that operates a jail, just because they're a disinterested third party when JP Lemming asked for this ordinance. But yes, we do have one. It does establish a daily rate. Certainly, the law allows the county to determine whether it does an agreement outside of that daily rate or the daily rate, but that's ultimately up to this court to make that determination.
Yeah. Ed, thank you. Thank you, counsel. And I would like to add, again, there are certain obligations that we have as this body. Obviously, we have obligations to the citizens of this county first, but I would also like to point that we have an obligation to uphold the Constitution of this state. I am not saying that the Constitution would not allow for this. Obviously, the state allows for us to take this action. But I do know that we also have to maintain equality. It's that there is an equality of burden, I believe, is Article 2, Section 3 of the Arkansas State Constitution, which states that nobody should be unfairly due with doing this. And what would happen is municipalities, or people in municipalities, would pay not only the quarter-cent sales tax, but then they would also be burdened with, hey, where is the money going to come from for us increasing the cost to cities? That's either going to come from we have to cut measures to other things that we do in those municipalities, or we will have to raise fees or taxes. And I believe that they are carrying that burden more so than any other parts of the unincorporated parts of this county. And for those reasons, I would not support this measure. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. JP Koger?
Thank you, Chair. I need some clarification, first of all. I thought we had some kind of agreement with the municipalities at this time that ended, does it, on a yearly basis, isn't it? Like through December 31st? No?
Yeah, so we have an agreement. So what happens is every year, the treasurer looks at what that budget shortfall is, and then based on the population figures given from the census data, that amount is then split up per capita amongst the municipalities, and it excludes the county, the unincorporated area of the county and its population out. And so what happens is everybody equally pays. It's not just the cities that are paying, but their numbers are actually reduced by the fact that there are people in the unincorporated areas of the county. And so it is a yearly thing that is sent out, a contract that the cities have all agreed to. A city has the opportunity or has the right to elect not to participate in the agreement and actually pay the daily rate should they choose to do that.
So what happens on January 1st if we don't have this ordinance or an agreement?
We have an agreement. We have, it's an ordinance, 2019, I think
Okay.
65,
Okay.
which is in effect. And so it just rolls over every year, that's what we use until such time as the quorum court makes a decision to do something different.
Okay, thank you. And I remember when this was discussed before, the sheriff has concerns about bookkeeping and keeping up with how you're gonna keep up with all that on daily basis. I just wonder what the sheriff's thoughts are on that right now, if that's gonna be a big problem or what.
Yes, sir.
Well, the bookkeeping will be a complicated process, primarily because a lot of people that come to jail that could be billed have charges out of multiple different agencies. So Lincoln might arrest somebody, but they also have a Farmington and a Prairie Grove warrant, so those have to be divided out. And then we have to keep pretty close contact with the people that come in on felony charges because once the formal charges are filed on a felony probable cause charge, then they become the county's responsibility and no longer the city's. So they could have some city charges and then the felony charges would take precedence, and after their formal charges, then they become the county's responsibility and we'd have to quit billing the city. So it'd be complicated, but we deal with complicated issues regularly, so we'll figure it out if that's the direction that we go.
So if someone was arrested by Fayetteville PD and they were in the jail, and then felony charges were filed, how would you know the felony charges were filed?
Well, if Fayetteville arrests somebody on a felony charge, they'll either have a warrant, and warrants do not apply in this case. If there's a warrant issued, then that's determined that formal charges have already been filed. If they arrest them on a probable cause, which is a preliminary arrest document, then we would be able to bill on that probable cause arrest until the prosecutor filed his formal charges. When Matt Durrett was the prosecutor, he estimated it takes about 30 days to get that done. It could be quicker now. They may have streamlined the process. I don't know. Mr. Carter behind me may have some information about how long that process would take.
So for those 30 days, Fayetteville would be paying the $80.30. Okay.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Well, just unless there were other entities that also had charges. If there was a failure to appear warrant out of Elm Springs and maybe out of Elkins, then that would be split 3 ways.
Okay. Do you have software to do all that?
Well, we've written a program, and we've been calculating this monthly, but it's not mattered because we haven't been billing, so it hasn't been checked for accuracy. But our IT director did write a program for that, to extract that data.
I'd like to, if I can ask you this, please. When I first heard of this, I thought it might be a good deal for the cities because it might cut down on the number of bookings that were in the jail, because officers might be more inclined to do a cite and release and just give people a court date. What is your thinking on that? Do you think it might help with the number of bookings down?
In 2019, it might have had an impact, but I believe now that the capacity of the jail being what it is, that most agencies are already citing and releasing all the ones they think they can. So I don't think it would have a huge impact on the jail numbers.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
JP Pond.
Yes, to start with, I'd like to maybe clarify something for myself here. We had a motion to pass this ordinance, and then we had a second, but I've kind of had a tendency to believe maybe that we had a second for sake of discussion, because obviously we got an ordinance in order to bring this up and discuss it, but we're doing this for the sake of discussion.
Yeah, I thought I heard a second. If I'm mistaken that, I apologize.
We did have
I thought I did.
we did have a second, but was that for the sake of discussion, or was, okay. That's what I had, we've been so long in not bringing this back up before the court, and different laws have been passed and everything else, and if my memory serves me, but we had at one time, a couple of the larger municipalities had their own, they had jails. And probably what they were doing was they were retaining misdemeanants at their jail and bringing felons to us. And this is a question for Brian. Is there some kind of difference in what the county's requirements are as to detaining, a difference in the misdemeanants and the felons as far as state law goes? Right? And could it be that we don't have any business billing as much for felons as we do misdemeanants as far as that goes?
So a difference in billing for those two amounts?
Or can we bill for felons the way we would for misdemeanors?
I think the only difference in the daily rate billing as it relates to felons versus misdemeanors is when that switches over from being a municipal issue to not being a municipal, right? So that for a felony, once they are, I think, formally charged or arraigned, I don't remember off the top of my head what it is, that they then become a state inmate, right? So you would no longer be able to bill the municipality for that. With someone who's committed a misdemeanor that's being held, they're the obligation of the city or the municipality until their trial is over. Or until they plea out or whatever they do, if they're in jail that long. Now granted, right now, we don't keep any misdemeanors in jail because we don't have the capacity to do so, given, all the overcrowding issue. But if we were to get back to a position like that, I think that's where the law is different. That's the big difference in those is when that, so obviously you pay more for someone who's stays longer as, on a misdemeanor hold than possibly you would if they were to stay there the full time on a felony.
So we would be, we'd be wanting them to be, they're still with us, but we'd want them to be turned over to the state or the federal government as soon as we possibly could.
Right, it would be it then becomes the obligation of the state or the feds to pay the rate. Now, the big difference here is with the state, we don't really get to tell the state what to pay. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But we don't. And I say that because it's the truth. I mean, they tell us what they'll pay. I think back in years past, some sheriffs had taken all their state inmates down to Little Rock and taken handcuffs and chained them up to fences. I don't think you're supposed to do that. Probably frowned upon these days.
I remember that sheriff's name.
Anyways, that's where we are, yeah.
That's, anyway, it's just a part of all this. I mean, my apology to, if there's been some municipalities had their blood pressure's gone up, but maybe in a different way, we need to have a discussion on this occasionally. Maybe not necessarily right now at budget time. But thank you, Brian.
It's just a question, I think, okay. Does this need to be tabled or if there's a motion?
Well, we have a motion now with due discussion.
Just to discuss.
To discuss, and then we'll see where we go from there. But I think ultimately there will be, procedurally, I think another motion will be coming, but as we get through discussion.
Okay, after discussion.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll move to another meeting.
JP Rio Stafford, sorry.
Thank you. And just a procedural note that if there is a motion to table, that cuts off us having public comment on this item unless we make a motion to suspend the rules and allow public comment on an item before it gets tabled. So.
Understand. Thank you for a good point.
I'll make that motion to allow public comment before we table.
Who seconded? Sorry. Lopez. So your motion is to suspend the rules and allow citizen comment on this
Yes.
topic,
Yes.
regardless of whether we stay in motion or we table a motion.
Correct, yeah. So we've had a lot of people show up who I think
that's
want to
fine.
speak on this.
It's a good motion. Any comment? Any discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. my understanding is all public comments, 3 minutes per person, Counselor, and 12-minute total as we go through that. So, yes, sir. No? You good? JP? Oh, okay. Any other discussion? Okay, so we'll go to citizen comment. Any citizen comment on this subject?
I've got a sister-in-law that's in labor and a mad wife because I'm here to talk to you guys. So I'll jump up here and go first and then let the other mayors finish up where I leave off. So I'm Mayor Heath Cottle from West Fork. Just want to point out that West Fork is passing our budget on Tuesday. I believe we may have already mailed our check for the 2026 jail fees, right? We've already received that bill. That's already budgeted in. So this puts cities at, this timing is putting cities at a real, in a pinch. So just want to point that out. With this daily rate, the last time we talked about this, so it was me and Mayor Colvin that I believe recommended that we go to this per capita fee that we're currently using. That's how the cities fund Central EMS. That's how we fund the subsidy to Central EMS, and it's worked great for many, many years. My point being, if we go to a daily rate, that's hard to budget for us. It's hard to budget for you and the jail. The jail's budget just came up, and they're at 80% for the year. They're right on track for where they should be this time of year. So that's kind of interesting to me that we're talking about a need for more when they're on track for this year's budget. But if my police department's budget is running low, so we've had a couple cars break down in October, and now all of a sudden the budget's tight in the PD, are cities going to start saying, are we going to start telling our police officers, make sure you don't go interact with this person because you're going to have to take them to jail and we can't afford it. So to me, that's where we're going when we get to this $80 a day, especially when the city has no control of how long that prisoner is going to sit there before it becomes a county priority. West Fork's got Interstate 49 running through it. Chief, you know this. We're picking people up from Little Rock. Who pays for that? Does West Fork pay for that while they set up here to see who brings charges next? So that's our issue with it, is it just, man, it puts us in a bind. How do we budget for that? We don't know how many people we're going to bring a year. But furthermore, if we're also talking about expanding the jail, the last time I added on to my house, I had to go talk to the banker, right? I couldn't just fund that. I couldn't go to my boss and say, hey, I need a raise so I can build something new. Typically, we bring on some debt for new additions. And I'll close with this. I think somebody said the jail's currently populated with 20% state detainees. I don't think they're paying $80 a day. The last time we talked about this, they certainly weren't. But the state's talking about building a new jail right now. So if the state builds that new jail, are they going to pull that 20% out? And what kind of vacuum is that going to leave at the jail? Or what kind of fluff in the budget is that going to leave if we're still funding it at this rate and they've got 20% less prisoners in the jail? So thank you for your time. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, sir. Public comment?
Good evening. My name is Colby Fulford from Springdale. I want to echo what Justice Ecke said earlier. I think she's correct in her assumption that this would be an appropriate way to fund a future jail. Appreciated Mr. Lemming's time last night on the phone. We discussed his concern for a need to fund the jail. But I'm going to go to a different part of the Arkansas Code. 1241-506 does address what was brought up earlier, but if you also look at Arkansas Code 1241-503.d, when more than one legal jurisdiction, that is counties or municipalities, share a common jail, the participating jurisdictions may enter into agreements to share the operational costs of the jail. That is not to fund future jail projects. Goes on to point E, when a shared jail is operated in a jurisdiction that is eligible to participate in the shared operation opts not to participate, then in the event that the jurisdiction has prisoners committed to the shared jail, that jurisdiction may be required to pay fixed per diem charges. Most important part is not to exceed actual cost. This can't be a mechanism to fund a new jail. I think the Arkansas Code is very clear about that. It goes on to say An agreement with an agency or a jurisdiction not eligible for participation in a shared jail operation project may be made from the housing of prisoners, provided the charges associated do not exceed the actual cost, including capital cost. Point G, jail shall accept prisoners of the United States government, provided space and staffing are available, and I don't know that it is, and the delivering government agency agrees to pay per diem charges not to exceed the actual cost, including capital cost. And I think the code is very clear that this is not to be turned into a for-profit situation for a jail funding. This is to cover actual cost. And when I go onto the website, the Treasurer's website, it shows that the total revenues and the total expenditures, the beginning balance was $7,423,000 and some odd change, and the ending balance is $8,303,000, which leaves a surplus of $870,000. Yet municipalities were billed for a shortfall. And I don't know the exact amount we were billed. I know last year it was $61,500, but it's only to be for the shortfall. And as Mr. Lopez stated earlier, or questioned earlier about the agreement, there is an agreement in place. It's not alluded to. It is a signed agreement that we do every year. It is a payment in lieu of a daily fee. And so, except for instead of the $67 a day fee, the jurisdictions have opted for a payment in lieu of to cover the shortfall. And that's where we were billed the $61,500 last year. So I just want to emphasize that the Arkansas Code, it is obvious that the spirit and the intent of the code is not to fund new capital projects. It's for maintenance and operations.
Thank you, sir. Public comment. Okay, I won't do it then, that's fine. It doesn't matter to me.
Good evening, Chairman Lyons, Finance and Budget Committee. I'd just like to echo the sentiments of the last two speakers. First, as a resident and a taxpayer of Fayetteville, there are a lot of people that travel here to have fun. There are a lot of our citizens who go to other counties, so I would love it for it to be explained better if it is we're paying for residents or where the crime, say, was committed, because I don't want to be on the hook, and I don't want my mayor and my city council to be trying to budget around, possibilities that they don't know what will come up. Prior to that, the mayor also mentioned that the state and the federal government will not be charged a different rate. I personally am for charging them more if we're going to charge cities more, especially if they're going to take up more of our capacity, and we're going to be housing their prisoners. I don't want this to be what helps to fund the new jail. If revenues aren't increasing and a project that was not voted on by the taxpayers, but then was passed by the quorum court, and now is running over budget. Part of my job, I look into how spending at the jail is going. And I can tell you right now, it's gonna be over budget, and the operational costs are gonna be astronomical, and we do not have the funds in our budget right now. So this seems like a bit of a pocket way to get those funds. And also, to some comments that were made about 6 years of abuse after we listened to somebody give a presentation on child abuse seemed a little tone deaf. And also, taxpayers asking you to spend our money properly and not waste it is not abuse. It is not us yelling at you. It is not us being mean. It is asking us to do the job that you were voted to do and to carry out the will of the voters who pay for all of this and pay for that budget to operate. Thank you.
Sir, can you give me your name and address? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Bryson Austin, live in Fayetteville.
Thank you.
Good evening. I am Keith Macedo. I'm the Chief of Staff for the City of Fayetteville.
Thank you.
And my personal address is 10752 South Appleby in Farmington. So thank you for the time to speak to you tonight. And fortunately, in my career, I had an opportunity to build a jail or detention facility in Texas and help operate that and manage that in a prior role and understand the complexity and the expenses that it does take to run one of these. So I appreciate you doing that for the City of Fayetteville. But I am here tonight to voice Mayor Ron's opposition to this. It would be a significant hardship for our budget. Mayor Ron had a focus this year on bringing a balanced budget. In our next council meeting, we'll we're very, very pleased to be bringing City Council a balanced budget to review, and that was a very difficult thing for us to get to. And this, would be about $1 million increase in our general fund budget, so it is significant for us to, especially at the last minute. And as I mentioned, we understand the expense it takes to run one, and we're happy to have a conversation with you. But that, to me, in the spirit of having that conversation, is something that Mayor Ron has been very, very, one of our top priorities is having relationships that we have with our county, with Judge Deakins, with other mayors. Mayor Sprouse is in the room. Several of the other mayors. We've been very, very proactive in reaching out and having relationships and cultivating those with mayors in the area to make sure that we can address shared challenges that we have. And I think this is a shared challenge that we have, and we want you guys to come to the table, and we want to be part of that to have a discussion. But to me, at the last minute, this is a kind of a tough thing to swallow, and we just want to voice our opposition.
Thank you, sir.
Since I got called out, I'll come on up and speak for a moment. I'm Mayor Doug Sprouse from the city of Springdale. Thank you for an opportunity to speak just for a moment. You heard from my chief of staff, Colby Fulfer, earlier. I thought Colby hit the nail on the head with a lot of important points. I do just want to say, I went through this back in 2019. We had the same issues then, even though the amount per day was being proposed was less. The same complications that we were concerned about, and the county and the cities came together. Heath was right with Mayor Colvin. I was in the room when they came up with when they first mentioned, well, how about a per capita? Because the goal at the time was to help address any shortfall, and I believe we've been doing that. We got a notice just a couple of weeks ago that our portion. Springdale's portion for the next year would be, I think it's $75,000, right around that. And but just so you know, under this plan, that cost would go to over $1 million, just as you heard from Fayetteville. And I appreciate that it might not get done tonight, but I hope it doesn't get done anytime, and I want to be clear about that because we're always happy to discuss if there are adjustments that need to be made or changes that need to be made to the agreement, because we want you to be made whole. And I think that's reasonable, that's fair, and that's in the spirit of the cooperation that Springdale, other cities, and this county have enjoyed for many, many years. Springdale's in a unique situation, along with Elm Springs, is that we get to deal with two counties, and we have a great relationship with Benton County as well. But things are a little different in both places, and we navigate that well. But we have always appreciated our relationship with Washington County and the leadership of Washington County, and we want that to continue, and I know you do too. And we'll always be willing to talk about any adjustments that need to be made so that you're made whole in the operations of the jail, because we appreciate that so much. But to go from 75,000 to $1 million is when we're sitting here. I'll be as transparent as I need to be that our next year's budget that I've proposed, council begins considering it on Friday. We have our budget meeting. Our budget shows a $400,000 surplus. So this $1 million would sink us really quick. We'd have to make some really fast decisions. But I appreciate that it may not be done tonight, but I hope that we can find a way where this isn't done anytime. And but we'll cooperate with you any way we can. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. We're out of time. How much?
We need to know. Hold on. We got to know how much.
Sorry.
How much time are we at? We got to know how much time it's going to take.
You made them. Okay,
I'll take one. It'll be fine. I'll take one. My name is David Falk. I'm the mayor for the city of
I'm sorry,
Pearl Grove.
sir. Give me just a minute. I apologize. So I have a motion. Do I have a second? The motion is second to add 3 minutes. All those in favor? All those opposed? Sir, thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, my name is David Falk, and I'm the mayor for the city of Prairie Grove. And I just want to kind of say the same thing that y'all already heard before, and we'll talk a little bit about shortfalls. Obviously, that's what y'all talking about here. The discussion for shortfalls is different than growing an account. For the city of Prairie Grove, you just heard Mayor Sprouse talk about his budget. We'll actually approve budget tomorrow night in the city of Prairie Grove. My budget is razor thin. In fact, I'll go in with a $30,000 surplus, period. And we're trying to figure out how to give a 3% COLA and a one employee add to our city. So when y'all start debating this and when y'all look at adding the amount of numbers that y'all talking about to come against our budgets, those hit very, very difficult to our small towns. And so with that, I want to remind y'all the way it kind of flows for small towns, because the federal government takes theirs, state takes theirs, county takes theirs, and us cities get the remainder on the back end. That's the way it works in the courts, that's the way it works in fees, that's the way it works in taxes. And so we're always working with a very, very small budget. And so when y'all increase these fees like this, what you're really doing, and you said it earlier, you're hoping that you find a way for people to cite rather than do the job of bringing people to jail. We're not talking about criminals just in Prairie Grove or just in Springdale. We're talking about criminals on the streets of Washington County. Y'all want to separate it into individual places. Once again, the gentleman from Fayetteville said this. You have people visiting Fayetteville. So a lot of our DWIs that's mandated for us to bring to jail is not Prairie Grove residents, but we'll be penalized for it. So what ends up happening is that you incentivize the police to not do their job, because then we have to start worrying about shortfalls on our budget. I just want to, I was only supposed to take 1 minute. I apologize, y'all gave me 3. But I just want to say complete opposition to this. Not only is it hurtful to the small towns that have razor-thin budgets, but I do believe, and I know Mr. Lemon disagrees with me, but I do believe that it incentivizes the fact of being lazy as police officers rather than being proactive. Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir. JP Lemon?
We got anybody else that's going to speak?
I need another motion.
Is there anybody else?
That's best. Mayor Russell, Tawnytown, Arkansas. I'm here obviously to speak against this bill. I just wanted to give you a little bit of insight. It would be a huge detriment to the cities large and small. Let me give you a little perspective in Tawnytown. In 2024, we paid $3,498 to have the house the inmates. If this ordinance were in place, we'd be paying over $64,000. And for little towns like ours, we can't afford to do that and staying within our budget. I think that there is a lot of issues that need to be addressed before something like this gets passed. And for instance, if you have someone come in and they're booked, an inmate come in and booked and released within 2 or 3 hours, what are we paying for? I mean, they're not getting showers, they're not getting jail clothing, they're not getting meals, they're not getting medical care, and we're still having to pay for it. I don't think that is right. I think it needs to be addressed and looked into. In my opinion, also crime would go up because the cities would be saying, we can't afford it. And I don't think it's right to leave the criminals on the street. That's just my opinion. I just asked you to think about it and think what could happen to these cities in Arkansas, and maybe do a more discussion and research on this before you pass an ordinance like this. Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Chair, thank you, and to everybody, this is not a deal that we was going to try to pass tonight. This is exactly done what I wanted it to do. I want it in the mayor's and the judge's hands to communicate, and I want to, the jail is down there, and it's becoming it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger in problems, and we have no choice. As Washington County, we have to fix the jail. We have to provide a jail for the sheriff to work in that's a safe jail. We have no choice, and I've talked to some of the mayors, and they say, well, we need to pass a bond. Well, we need to pass a tax. Well, you can't get the citizens to do that. We can't do that if we can't get the citizens to do that. So maybe the mayors and in their towns needs to have good communications with their citizens to understand that, yeah, if we don't fix the jail, you are gonna have bigger crimes. When your car gets stolen every other night, maybe you're gonna come back and say, maybe we need to go build a bigger jail. So this is gonna put heat on everybody's in all actions. Washington County Quorum Court and us Washington County people has already got the problem on our back. We gotta get it off our back somehow, somewhere. And so I would like to move to table this till about May of next year. That'll give us 5, 6, 7 months. That'll give the mayor's time. That'll give the judge more time. That'll give us all more time to study and research this. And at the end of the day, we might not do a damn thing. But that jail is a big problem. That jail is not going away, and there's going to be more people sleeping on the floor because that jail, this population has grown the way it's grown around here, and it's not been a good thing because we've got lots of problems with it. So I would like to table this to the county services meeting on the 1st of May, and then finance and budget after that.
I need to clarify. You want to table it, which means at the end of the night it goes away, or you want to postpone it?
I want to
until-
postpone it.
Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you.
Postpone until May County
of
Services.
2026. And that way the mayors won't be able to come up here and say, oh, it's budget time. That's tomorrow. That's not going to happen. Now, they've got 6 months to study it, look at it. We don't do nothing, that's fine. We don't, if they pass their budgets then, they got time to study it. Thank you.
I got a second. Thank you though, sir. So any discussion? JP Bruns?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There's just one thing that I would like to add, and I'm glad we're postponing this, but I've heard nothing about discussing this with kind of like a roundtable with the mayors and or their designates up until May. Why don't we get something organized up until May that these guys can sit and talk about and work things out among themselves? Maybe they can come up with some great ideas to propose to us. You know, when minds work together versus working against each other, things happen, and they happen good. And I think we got some very quality mayors in we're very fortunate to have the mayors that we have in Washington County. And I would think we need to include them and their designee to be able to participate in discussions with this. So.
Point of clarification. Does Robert's rules allow us to discuss a motion?
Yes, correct? Yes. JP Rio Stafford?
Thank you, Chair. I'm in favor of the motion to postpone. I would prefer a motion to just table completely, because I'm not in favor of putting this on the cities. But as long as I have a captive audience here of mayors and chiefs of staff, I agree with what JP Bruns was saying, that this whole discussion with the jail needs to be something that the cities and the county need to be together at the table to mutually discuss what's going on. And I think that to me, I want to stress to you all out there in the audience that there's two aspects of this in particular that we haven't discussed that much, but I think that maybe you can get a realization that you are stakeholders in this and need to be proactive in two things specifically. One is the county's efforts to launch alternatives to jail. We just launched the CRI program this year, the Community Rebuilding Initiative, which is an alternative program. But one of the things that we haven't done, back in 2020, this county commissioned a report from the Center for State Courts on what to do about the jail, Some of those recommendations have never been put in place. One of those was a comprehensive pretrial services program that I would love to see our judges and our prosecutor, public defender, and sheriff come together and bring us something. I know the CRI could be considered one component of pretrial services, but having a comprehensive plan could help us reduce the population at that jail even further. And the cities, I hope you're starting to realize that you guys are stakeholders in these decisions. The other thing is transparency and accountability in the spending of the jail and the sheriff's department. You know, we just had a Arkansas State Police report come out this year on potential allegations of misuse of county funds and equipment in the sheriff's department. That the county bought a $120,000 skid steer. I would hate to see the cities, I would hate to see this additional money from the cities be used for something like that. And I know the sheriff's department, to their credit, has said that they've put new controls in place, but this quorum court has been tasked with doing additional checks and balances on that, and so far we've done nothing. I just want our cities to be aware that you guys are stakeholders in these decisions as well, because they're going to potentially affect, what you guys are paying into the jail fund. I don't think this is the right solution for this, but I would love to see everyone come to the table and discuss these issues. Thank you.
So JP Lemming, against Robert's rules, we can't postpone 6 months out. You can postpone to the next meeting, or you can withdraw, and then because it wasn't voted on, you could bring it back when you want to bring it back.
I'll just make a motion to withdraw it.
Okay. You withdraw, they do. Okay. So I think that ends discussion on that. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, back to going back to the what was item 9. I'm going to start using the numbers that were printed on the agenda to save my confusion. This is an ordinance appropriating $121,138 from the unappropriated reserves in the general fund to the Children's Safety Center of Washington County. J.P. Ricker.
Moves to pass full quorum court with a due pass.
Second.
I have a motion by J.P. Ricker to pass item 9 to the full quorum court with a due pass recommendation, and a second from J.P. Dean. Any discussion? J.P. Koger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I support the important work of the Children's Safety Center, but I have a question. And when the executive director was speaking, and I'm sorry I didn't catch the name, I think she mentioned that she had been talking with the judge about this. I would like to know, what process does Washington County have in line? What kind of policy or criteria do we have where nonprofits can come to the quorum court and get assistance with funding? Because I've already been contacted by at least 2 other nonprofits who are asking me, what process do we have where we can come to the county? Because we've lost grants too. We've lost substantial funding. And so I just think to be transparent and make sure that we're being fair to everyone, we should have.
I'm sorry, J.P. Koger. I don't think that's relevant to the discussion, the motion on the table to pass this funding appropriation. Do you have something about this actual appropriation funding that's on the table to pass?
I want to support this. I cannot support it if we don't have, if I don't understand how it is that we're funding this nonprofit and not others.
Thank you, ma'am. Other discussion? Citizen comment?
Good evening, JP's. Tad Sowers. I'm the Communications Director for Washington County. I just, while we're talking about the Children's Safety Center, wanted to remind everybody that on December 4th, we are going to hold our second annual Christmas at the Courthouse, which benefits Children's Safety Center. So if you would like to attend, we'd love for you to come and bring coats and unwrapped toys is what we're asking for. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Citizen comment. So I have a motion to pass item 9 to the full quorum court, the due pass recommendation by J.P. Ricker, and a second by J.P. Dean. All those in favor, aye? Aye. All those opposed? It passes. Item 10 is an ordinance anticipating additional revenue in the amount of $284,090.76 in the Community Rebuilding Initiative Grant Fund. J.P. Ecke?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to pass item number 10.1 onto the full quorum court with a due pass recommendation.
Have a motion by J.P. Ecke to pass item 10 to the full quorum court, the due pass recommendation, a second by J.P. Dean. Discussion? Sorry, me. Actually, give me just a minute. J.P. Koger?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Have we been officially notified by the state that this $284.90.76, is that the amount that we've been notified that we're getting for the grant?
Yes.
Okay, so, we're supposed to match that 25%. Well, that would be $71,022.69. So why the additional $23,674 for the matching grant?
Comptroller Sherman, do you have any insight to that, sir?
Unfortunately, no, I do not.
You do not.
I mean, I'd have to talk to the grants department, actually.
Okay.
Well, I have something else. It might, okay. So we, back earlier this year, when the first grant came, we appropriated $575,000 for this program. It was my understanding that was through the end of this year, okay? So this grant started on September 1st. So they're gonna have that grant for the rest of the year, plus the $575,000 that we appropriated. Do we get some of that money back?
I don't understand the question. My understanding, Counselor, is we're getting funds into the county from a grant fund. We're not providing money out to somebody via grant. Am I misunderstanding?
Honestly, I don't know all the details to answer all of this, and maybe the judge will, but this is money that we have been awarded. There is a matching part that goes with that. I don't know the details of the grant. Unfortunately, Dr. Russell is out on a medical leave, and so she's not here tonight, so I don't know the answer to your question.
Judge, do you have more information for us,
Thank you,
please,
Mr.
sir?
Chairman. First, keep in mind, we're blessed enough in Washington County to have multiple programs running on simultaneously. So some of the funding I believe you're talking about is the Community Alternative Program, which Returning Home runs in their facility in Huntsville. And also some of the funding that you're talking about tonight is with CRI. So as we continue to grow and try to size up CRI, we're looking at the old prison facility, we're looking for women's programming, we're looking at all these different endeavors. Mostly we're looking for funding. What this grant represents is a renewal of our RSAC grant that we're operating under in CRI right now from the state. So this is a grant that will keep us running in that format for another year. It's kind of like it's a renewal of the grant under what we're currently doing. I hope that kind of helped. I'm sorry.
Okay, but that grant started on September 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which
And
is,
so-
that's the calendar of the state.
Right.
We're just going along with the calendar of whatever their offerings are.
Okay, but I'm still, maybe I'm not being, I don't know how to ask this, I guess, but we appropriated $575,000, and it was supposed to be through the end of this year, okay? So they're getting this on top of that.
Yeah, I think what you're confusing is the budget years. We don't have any control over what the state dictates as their budget year. And in fact, we put back feedback to them, like, this makes no sense to operate from September to August every year from a county budgeting standpoint. So yes, that money you're talking about was allocated on the expectation that we would get a renewal of the grant and continue running the program until the end of the year. If we did not get renewed for the grant, it would have been terminal and absolutely astounding to us, and we would have come to you guys back with some money of that allocation for this year. We just don't have the budget years lining up, if that makes sense. They're no fault of our own.
Okay. Judge, I don't think you were in the room when I asked this, but the 25% matching grant would be $71,000. So how come in this ordinance it's $96,000?
I'm not sure about the details of that. That would be something that Dr. Russell would need to answer. But what I'll say is a lot of our matching we're doing through labor and it's not cash out, if that makes sense. So there might even be a thing in there where she's overshooting the match based upon our labor, because you can count sheriff staff, things like that we're contributing to the facility, not outside of just cash, if that makes sense. We always like to make ourselves very competitive for grants. We always like to demonstrate that we can go well and above our match, just because we think that makes us more competitive and shows that we're more engaged as a county on some of these programs.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Citizen comment? No, sorry. There you go.
Sherry Main, 15451 Riches Road, Fayetteville. I just want to remind y'all and recognize that the jail budget has to accommodate the staff for the CRI, which puts them short or even having to hire more deputies to staff the CRI. And when it expands to the women's, when the men's move over to where there's no jail doors on their one that they're repairing, which was what the women's old jail used to be, they'll need more security because the facility will be bigger. And then we'll have the women in the old unit of the men's. So I'm looking down the road as more cost for this coming from the budget of the county. That's not going to be coming from grants or other things that we need to look at because, staffing, pulling staff from the Washington County Jail to staff these on the county jail's budget needs to be considered, and I don't think that's fair to Sheriff Cantrell. Thank you.
Thank you. Citizens comment?
Hello, Bryson Austin, still a resident of Fayetteville. Tonight I just want to give a bit of a background on the county's relationship with returning home. So at the end of 2024, around December of 2024, returning home continued a set of internal conversations with the county. Mr. Robinson, with his relationship with Judge Deakins, and behind the scenes, returning home applied with the county for an RSAT funding of December 24 to use the voluntary CSU building and turn it into a locked jail environment for men only. The application turned in stated that there will be a list of things provided, and to this day, we have not been demonstrated that list. This program was pitched as a pilot for a year, with part of the year being RSAT money and $500,000 being general funds, to fund this through the calendar year of 2025. AJRC, Arkansas Justice Reform Coalition, has requested the report given to the state for the RSAT program And for the first and second quarter, the reports contained errors and listed individuals had complete the program on the first quarter despite only being operational for 9 weeks. It came out in a recent county services meeting that is on the record that instead of completion of therapeutic programming that is listed for the RSAT agreement documents, returning home is using the adjudication of a person's case to consider them complete. So this measurement is out of line with what the expectations were set at within the RSAT contract and what the public was told. Now, in today's Finance and Budget Committee, Returning Home in Washington County have another RSAT grant program that overlaps with the other 2025 funding showing starting in October of 2025, where the general fund money is already given for those operations. To continue the CRI pilot program that has yet to show a fully complete set of metrics to then evaluate if this is right and appropriate for the County of Washington, and to continue and to invest in it would be a dereliction of duty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Kenneth Lovett, Fayetteville, Arkansas. I agree with the gentleman that just left. We need some clarification, citizens do, with the purpose of this extra money that's coming out of the, difference between 70-something thousand and 90-something thousand. Where is that money going? Why? The judge just said something, and I forgot what he said there at the end. We like to go above the requirement. He also likes to pay off their vehicles. Thank you.
Citizen comment. So I have a motion by J.P. Ecke, seconded by J.P. Dean to pass item 10 on to the full quorum court that do pass recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? No. That passes. Item 11. Item 11 is an ordinance recognizing revenue in the amount of $407,347 in the high-intensity drug trafficking area grant fund. J.P. Ricker?
Make a motion to pass full quorum court with due pass recommendation.
We have a motion by J.P. Ricker to pass this on to the full quorum court, the due pass recommendation, and a second by J.P. Dean. Discussion? Citizen comment?
Hello, I'm back again. I start with just an anecdote that's personal. I had both of my wisdom teeth taken out my junior year of college, I believe. And I was prescribed Percocet for pain, and the pain was excruciating, and it did help. And in that process, I got to understand a little bit of what it means to take an opioid. And it takes the pain away. It just makes, my teeth were hurting, I was writhing in bed, it was awful. So I understand how one could get addicted to that kind of substance when struggling through their life. The people that have voted and loved or hated for the president, have voted and hated or loved the former president, they all struggle. People from red states and blue states all struggle. Everyone has pain, everyone has troubles. I know several in-house neighbors that have chronic diseases and don't have the health insurance to get them the pain meds that they need. So they just suffer in the cold while we sit in this room and discuss throwing around hundreds of thousands of dollars. So my call to you is to please look into solving the root of these issues. People don't turn into quote unquote criminals or drug addicts because they want to. Nobody wants to upend their entire life and hurt the people around them and hurt their community and become destructive and not pay their taxes. That is not a thing that people actively work to become. Invest in our community. Invest in those people who are lost. Try to get them back. That's what it seems you want to do with projects such as the CRI and CAP. Going into solving substance abuse and not criminalizing it is how we're going to stop trafficking of all kinds. We have to see the pain that is happening in our community and respond to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Citizen comment. I have a motion by J.P. Ricker, seconded by J.P. Dean, to pass item 11 onto the full quorum court that do pass recommendation. All those in favor are aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, that passes. Item 12, an ordinance levying the county municipal and school district taxes for the year 2025. Okay. No, wait, sorry. Counselor.
Okay. We need, so if you look at this ordinance, you'll notice that Greenland, there's a blank. The reason for that is at the time that we drafted this ordinance, Greenland had not officially voted. They kind of pushed it off, but it has been done. And so we need to amend this. I got an email from County Clerk Llewellyn this morning that said Greenland is staying at 2.3 mils. And so on line 61, we'll go in, if you'll make this, someone will make a motion to amend to add 2.3. We'll go in and make that amendment, and then it'll be correct when you get it at the full quorum court meeting to actually vote and pass.
J.P. Ricker?
Make a motion to amend line 61 of this ordinance to show Greenland at 2.3 mils.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to amend this ordinance, line 61, to make Greenland 2.3 mils, seconded by J.P. Dennis. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? J.P. Rickers.
Make a motion to pass the amended ordinance to full quorum court with due pass.
Second.
Was that J.P. Lopez? Yes, okay. So I have a motion by J.P. Rickers to pass the amended item 12 onto the full quorum court that do pass recommendation, seconded by J.P. Lopez. Any other discussion? Citizen comment. Have a motion by J.P. Ricker to pass amended item 12 to the full quorum court that do pass recommendation, seconded by J.P. Lopez. All those in favor, aye. Aye. All those opposed? Passes. Item 13, an ordinance amending the building and grounds budget for 2025. Oh, where'd it go? Sorry, I just blew it. Sure. Thank you.
So just so everybody understands what happened, Director Ledgerwood put in her budget capital outlay in the amount of $50,000 to appropriate or for some door switches or some door badges, I believe. Nonetheless, she can't pay that out of capital outlay under legislative audit rules. And so all she's asking is that that money that was put into that line item be moved to a different one, which takes quorum court approval based on budget controls. It's for the same thing that it was originally intended. It's just that you can't pay it out of the capital outlay account. It needs to be put into this security equipment account in order for it to pay for us not to get dinged by a ledge audit. And that's all it is. Now make a motion.
Thank you, Counselor. Who? Motion? Yeah, 'cause I didn't recognize it. Okay, I have a motion by J.P. Dean and a second by J.P. Lemming to pass item 13 onto the full quorum court that do pass recommendation. Any discussion? Citizens comment. Have a motion by J.P. Dean to pass item 13 onto the full quorum court. The due pass recommendation with a second by J.P. Lemming. All those in favor, aye. Aye. All those opposed? It passes. Stupid thing. I give up. Item 14, an ordinance amending the treasurer's budget for 2025. Is this it? Oh, okay, yeah, this was for, sorry. Due to an error in the 2025 personnel budget for the treasurer's office, only one employee was accounted for in the health insurance matching line item. And this is correcting that and moving the funds into the appropriate accounts. I have a motion and a second. I have a motion by J.P. Dean to pass item 14 onto the full quorum court, the due pass recommendation, and a second by J.P. Dennis. Any discussion? Citizens' comment. I have a motion by J.P. Dean to pass item 14 onto the full quorum court, the due pass recommendation, and a second by J.P. Dennis. All those in favor, aye. Aye. All those opposed? Item 15, ordinance amending the Circuit Court 5 budget for 2025. Basically, due to additional criminal cases that they're having, additional funding is needed to cover the costs for the remainder of the year for food, jurors, and witnesses. Have a motion by J.P. Lopez to pass item 15 onto the full quorum court, the due pass recommendation, seconded by J.P. Dennis, or Dean, sorry. Discussion. Citizens' comment. I have a motion by J.P. Lopez to pass item 15 to the full quorum court, the due pass recommendation, seconded by J.P. Dean. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? It passes. Item 16, an ordinance recognizing additional revenue in the amount of $16,131.67 in the general fund. This is from the administrative office of the courts to pay for medical treatments invoices for participants in the drug court program. A motion to pass item 16 to the full quorum court, the due pass recommendation by J.P. Ricker, seconded by J.P. Dean. Discussion? Citizens' comment?
Sorry, y'all have an interesting agenda tonight. I'm Bryson, still a resident of Fayetteville. I got to attend drug court a couple of weeks ago, and I met with Judge, no, that wasn't drug court. I went to mental health court, and I got to meet with Judge Stevenson. And I would just say that these court alternative programs are wonderful. It is amazing to see how much Judge Stevenson cares about the people who go through that courtroom, and it's great to see how they respond to her. I saw moments where she was very, very kind and showed compassion for these people. But I saw moments where she was stern with them and told them that they would need to get their life together if they wanted to continue with her program. So continue funding things like these. Benton County, for some reason, thinks they have the superior specialty courts. I disagree. Their judges are not better than ours. But yeah, that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Citizens' comment. Have a motion by J.P. Ricker to pass item 16 to the full quorum court, the due pass recommendation, seconded by J.P. Dean. All those in favor, aye. Aye. All those opposed? Item 17, an ordinance amending the Juvenile Detention Center budget for 2025. The JDC operations is 24/7 and experiencing an increased demand for staff coverage. This adjustment is to cover that additional staff required to meet the operational needs without interruption. I have a motion by J.P. Ricker to pass item 17, the full quorum court, the due pass recommendation, seconded by J.P. Dean. Discussion?
This is just a movement amongst line
Citizens comment. Oh, you're right. Thank you, sir. Yeah, sorry. So we have a motion by J.P. Ricker to pass item 17, the full quorum court, the do pass recommendation, seconded by J.P. Dean. All those in favor, aye. All those opposed? Item 19 is an ordinance establishing the Washington County annual budget for fiscal and calendar year 2026. You start us off with some points?
Yeah, so that wasn't too bad, 2 hours. I thought it might be longer than that, but here we go.
We're not done yet.
So I handed out a talking paper. I'm just going to go over that real quick, which sort of summarizes the overall budget and some of the revenues. General property tax fund for that we received through October. You already saw these figures from Treasurer Hill, 13.9 million or 9.87% increase over 2024. Again, the millage is 4.3, and if you array all the counties, we're 43rd. 36 counties have millage of county general millage of 5, which is the legal limit. Just point that out because you know, we're being fiscally responsible while keeping taxes low. Property tax that goes towards the road. Through November, it's $2,206,000. That's a 9.8% increase. One of the reasons why I wanted to put this on here, you can see that the millage, it's 1, but we split that with the municipalities. So an increase in even, you know, property taxes that come in is smaller when it goes to roads because we, for example, Fayetteville and Springdale, they get 80% of it, we get 20% of it. The other things that fund the road, of course, are right below there, the 1 cent sales tax. It's $9,483,000. It's up 5.76%. 40% of that goes to the roads. So that was like 3.7 million there, or 3.8 million. That gets added to that 2.2 million. And then other funds is turned back from the state goes towards the roads, which is about 550,000 a month, or close to 13 million a year. And then we get some, I believe, from the federal government. Is that right? Yeah, from the federal government. So. But 60% of that goes towards county general, and that's 5.6 million. The quarter-cent sales tax there, that all goes towards the jail. That's what we debated earlier a little bit tonight. Through October, it's 14.5 million. It's up 6.72%. 100% of that goes to the jail. So if you look at the overall budget request this year, it's 129 million, 130 million, and that's a 2.07 increase over 2025. I like to look at the general fund too, because that's really what we have control over, because a lot of the other things, funding from grants and things like that sort of flow. But so county general, the request is 57.5 million. Or 8.69% over 2025. So the one thing that I want to point out is our revenue is growing faster than our budget request, which I think is a good thing. So, as far as the other funds that we talked about, it's 72 million, and that's a 2.64 decrease over 2025. The reason why that's a decrease is because we've been spending ARPA money and revenue replacement. So as we spend that, that money will roll over, but it'll be less than we had to request this year. So that's why you see a decrease in that area. Considerations of the overall budget. Like I said, tax revenue's growing faster than the budget request. 2026 is an election year, so that requires poll workers and the election commission to do their thing, write all their deals that they do to get the elections done. County contribution to health insurance. We've had that discussion. I mean, it's skyrocketing. It's like, it's 20% more than last year, and I think everybody's struggling with that. We went from $832 a month per employee that takes health insurance to $1,000 a month. So that was the 20% increase. I think since 2020, it's more than it's up around 70% increase since 2020. So, and I'm not sure how to combat that. I'm not sure if there is a way to combat that. I mean, the healthcare industry, I think, has no desire to change because they're the ones receiving all the money, but we'll see. Fuel Island, I went ahead and put that in the 2026 request because the bid was just awarded like 2 weeks ago, I believe, or a week ago. So I thought that it wasn't going to get paid out in time. But today I did see the first invoice for like $200,000 on that. So that figure, we can either take it out or we can just leave it in there and the appropriation will expire at the end of next year. Remaining ARPA funds and remaining revenue replacement, sort of talked about that a little bit as we go forward. Our overall budget is going to decrease next year. When those two figures come off there, you'll see the overall budget come down. And we'll get to a more realistic budget with our county money and all the other revenues that flow into here. I have heard some discussion about potentially lowering millage. I'm not really a fan of that. Especially right now, we're already lower than most counties, and I would like for all this money to clear out so we can see where we really fall on where the budget is. Labor, so the total budget's $129 million. The labor request is 69.7, which is 53.64. And that includes the jump that we just did in health insurance. So that going to $1,000 a month per employee per month added $1.2 million onto our labor costs and overall budget. So not a bad figure, 53%, that's acceptable to me. Then there on county contributions, that's just sort of a breakout of some of the additional things that you see above actual salaries. So we match FICA at 7.65%. We contribute 15.32 to the APERS program for each employee. I think that each employee contributes, I think it's going to 7%. It's slowly climbing. It's like 6 something now, but it's going to 7. And then the workers' comp and life insurance there. So you see, we already talked about the health insurance. So is there any questions on the budget talking papers? We're going to pull up one of the summaries that Bobby does so we can talk about that a little bit.
Okay. Question? JP Dennis?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Help me with this one, if you can, on the road millage. Is that one of those things that we've let go on and on and on for a long time and we just accept it? Fayetteville and Springdale get 80% and the county gets 20%?
Truthfully, I'm not sure how that's renegotiated. I know the concept is that Fayetteville takes care of their roads within the municipality, and then we take care of the roads on the outside.
Those were done by state legislation years and years, decades ago. So I had to take legislation to fix it.
Okay, but am I looking at it wrong? If Fayetteville is so full, they can't grow much more. Springdale's got the same, and the county is the one that's doing all the growing. All these small towns are just getting, it's just hard to get from Fayetteville to Prairie Grove or Lincoln without it being just a solid line of people. So that means there's more and more people in the county, in those smaller towns, and they're not
I
getting
mean, the smaller ones are 50/50. Smaller cities
smaller
within their
cities.
jurisdictions, within their city limits. They split it with the road 50/50. But, I mean, as far as population, the county's not growing at the rate of the, especially the bigger cities. But,
Okay.
huh?
Thank you.
JP Lemon?
Thank you, Chair. Fuel islands, what was the total cost?
Oh, like 670,000.
670.
That's give or take 1,000.
Okay, the graders, did we ever get a exact number and exact cost and all that?
Yeah, on the graders, you know, I put in my email that the bid was let. One of the things, there's a couple things. We were running out of time on both of the companies were telling us, hey, we need a decision because to be able to have 8 graders available in January, you need to let us know because their supply chain. That was one of the things. So the graders, the actual total cost for the 13 graders was $3.8 million. That's $286,000 for 9 of them, which are 70P tandem motor graders, and for 4 of them, 672P all-wheel drive, they were $320, but the total was $3.8. And then on the trade-in, they gave us 130 graders, to $130,000 per grader, or $1.5 million. So when you subtract that trade-in off the total cost, it's $2.3 million, and that's going to be on a lease, and that lease is at 4.2%, and the total payments per year are $463,752.
Is that a lease purchase or buyout?
That's a lease with an option to buy.
Balloon at the
So
end.
we can turn them all back, or we can pay to keep them all. That, if we were to do a payment to keep them all, it'd be $1.7 million to keep the graders. And then the other issue, just talking to the road department of why they chose one particular supplier over the other was they did feel like they didn't get good service from CAT on the last go-around. So that's one of the reasons why that they, so.
This one they're keeping down there, did they gotta pay how much to keep it?
Probably, you know that number, Chief? I think like probably the 130. Part of the reason why they're keeping that is because they put a $75,000 motor in it, and you know.
I thought that was done under warranty. No?
I think the warranty ran out like right after the warranty time. So.
So it cost us $130,000 to keep one, and you bought 13 more, so we got 14 now.
Correct.
Okay. And on the, is that crusher lease, is that just a lease, is that a monthly lease, or did we purchase that? Was that the 1 point, I heard that?
My understanding is that's a lease. I'm kind of drawing off memory, though. I think that was a lease that's gonna be
Lease
returned.
purchase?
Right.
And the dump trucks have still got remaining probably about 700,000 on them, at least?
Yeah.
7 or 8? Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Comptroller Sherman, do you know, after the budget, what's the unappropriated reserve total that we have for 26 now?
Yeah, we'll pull that up.
Oh, that's coming up, okay. I think there's some other questions then.
Okay.
JP Rio Stafford?
Thank you, Chair. Looking at the labor request, does that include a COLA this year, or are we just completely
That does
relying on the
not,
step
no,
plan?
that does not include a COLA.
Okay. If we, and you may not have this number right now unless you have your calculator with you, how much would that number change if we did a COLA that matched like the federal COLA for next year, which I think is like
I think-
2.8%?
Yeah, I think it's 2.9%.
2.9?
And I think you probably could just multiply that, no, you couldn't just multiply it because of, the health insurance is a set figure. Yeah, I'd have to
okay.
do the math on that, but.
Okay, all right. If I could get with you on what
Right.
those numbers might be, it's
Correct.
later.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Okay.
So you asked about unappropriated reserve, and I think I have a copy of this that I can look down here. Is that the proper one? So right now, the unappropriated reserve on the county general is only 1.7 million. But I will say on this fund, and we kind of spoke on it, we asked the AAC, Treasurer Hill talked to the AAC about unappropriated reserves on these funds because of the health insurance fund. You see that it's negative right there, the unappropriated reserve. But technically, all those top three funds, the 1000 series down to 1002, they're considered, like that 15 million that we have in reserve can be considered holdback. So on those three funds. So even though we're still showing a 6.5% holdback, 10% holdback on that, on the first one, county general, we technically wouldn't even have to do that because that 15 million counts as a holdback because it's all the same kind of funds. But that is our quote reserve savings account. I would like to just keep that up there, and then if we needed more next year, we could dip into that reserve fund if the unappropriated reserve of that 1.6 was depleted on the ordinances that we pass. And truthfully, what I would probably try to do is do a salary sweep for any of the, vacancies that we budget for that aren't being utilized. I'd try to do a salary sweep to cover down. The road fund, you will see that they are razor thin. So there's only 9,400 in unappropriated reserve there. So just another education-wise, so the way this, I like this particular report because what happens is Bobby projects his carryover, and he's pretty good at it. He's conservative, and he always comes in right about where it is. So I tend not to question Treasurer Hill's numbers. And then any kind of available revenue that we have, those are also projections, which he's pretty good at. So the total revenue is the carryover plus the revenue projected, and then that's the total amount that we have for the year, and then you're required by state law to hold back 10%. And that's what kind of saves you from depleting your accounts. So that's why we have 59 million available, and then we requested 57 in the county general. And you see on that savings account, or reserve, we're not required to do a holdback on that. And technically, we're not required to do a holdback on the employee health insurance fund either, on those three. So, is there any questions on this report? I mean, the reason why I like this is because it shows really how much money we have that we're holding back. 6.5 plus the 15.3, so we're sitting on $22 million in basically hold back our reserve funds.
Any questions? Thank you, sir.
I don't have any other discussion on the budget. We do have the budgets that I can pull up if there's specific questions. We've had them out a couple times, so. I feel pretty confident that this is a solid budget that was, you know, as long as we're below growth, I'm feeling good.
Thank you, sir. Motion? Well, we need a motion to start, right? Or go to amendments? Well, we need amendments because then we have a motion for the amended ordinance. Okay. All right. I have a small amendment I'd like to make to this ordinance. So I move we amend Article 1, add as the last sentence, all county employees are eligible to participate in the STEP compensation plan. There was no decision. I mean, my question was why and what's the documentation?
I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
Okay, well, okay. So I have a motion, do I, a second? So it's motion to amend Article 1 to add as the last sentence, all county employees are eligible to participate in the STEP compensation plan. By myself, seconded by JP Koger. Discussion? Are you, okay, thank you. JP Rio Stafford?
Thank you. Could we just get an explanation of what the practical effect of this amendment might be?
Well, I've been contacted hearing that, you know, some departments have been identified as not being in the STEP plan. My understanding last year, when this was brought to the court and was passed, is the whole idea in the STEP plan was be fair to all county employees, because the process prior to that was not seen as fair. And I just, you know, I'm just trying to put a stake in the ground that was my understanding. When I read the ordinance, quite honestly, I think the ordinance already says this.
Okay.
Because, I mean, in the article above that, it states, in addition, it reflects the number of full-time equivalent employment requirements and STEP plan compensation ranges of all county employees and county officers. I think it's already said in there. But because there's been this huge back and forth and different discussions, it's like, I just wanted to put a stake in the ground.
Okay.
That's all it is.
We have some county employees right now that are not on the STEP plan?
That's what's been discussed. That's what's
Okay.
been identified. That there's certain county employees and certain departments that are not allowed to participate in the STEP plan. I think I said
Okay.
that right.
All right. Well, yeah, I'd be in favor of making that change, and I think we do need to put everybody on equal footing in our county, and you know, fairly compensate all our workers and put everybody on equal footing. So thank you for bringing this forward.
Other discussion? Yes. JP Ecke.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to know what departments were excluded from the STEP plan, because it's, for it to be legally fair and equitable. Everybody had to be included. You couldn't discriminate, and I'd like to know who was being discriminated. Thank you.
You want to provide that?
My understanding that the people that were not included in the STEP plan are some of the members, some people in the prosecuting attorney's office and the public defender's office. Those are state obligations, not county obligations. So my understanding was that that was to keep those more commensurate with those positions and the amount of pay that they receive.
Apologies, I thought you left it on. Sorry.
No, geez. That brings in a whole different dynamic because those are state obligations, not county obligations. And I know that there was an effort by this court to try and get the state to pay for their obligations because they've been derelict in their fiscal responsibilities to this, but I don't believe that we should punish employees. But at the same time, they're not county employees, they're state employees. And so the more we end up funding this, the less responsible the state becomes. So I just thank you for clarifying that. But that makes me mad because the state, once again, is fopping off on the counties their responsibilities.
So my understanding, and Counselor, please correct me, is my understanding is yes, the state is supposed to provide the staff in those offices. But the county has went out and hired county employees to offset and have more people. So there are county employees that are hired by the county that participates in our medical plan, that participates in our retirement plan and everything else in that office.
Are they county employees?
That's my understanding.
They are county employees, not
ma'am.
state employees.
My understanding is the county employee, I mean, and again, it
Gotcha.
just says county employees, because if they were state employees, this wouldn't apply anyway.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
No, yes, ma'am, and
All right.
I agree. That's, again, my understanding.
Then they should be included.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Well, and I think it's, I'll say, I think it's important. I reached out, we know, prosecuting attorney provided us a presentation months ago of all the good work Judge Taylor and Judge Bryan's doing at getting rid of the backlog, right? They don't do that by themselves, right? And I reached out to Judge Taylor, and I actually got an email today, and I'm thankful that she sent it to me. But again, the concern I had, that I reached out to try to get confirmation from the judge, is if they don't have public defenders, if they don't have prosecuting attorneys, they can't continue to do what they've done this year, right? I want them to continue. I think it's a great benefit to the county. It's getting the backlog done. It's a benefit across the board from that standpoint. And so that's why, going through this, again, just to put a stake in the ground, so this is what we all agreed to, and it's county employees. Let's make sure that we can continue to support the judges in what they're doing and get another good year of removing that backlog, et cetera.
Then if it's already specified, then we don't need an amendment to this. We just have, I believe that, Mr. Chairman, you've already made a point of clarification that this includes all county employees, and they are county employees.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't think this amendment is necessary. Now that you've clarified that, we can just move on, because it does say county employees, correct?
I'm sorry, what says?
Didn't Article 1 already say
It did,
all
but
county?
again, it said that exact same last year. The exact same words were in there.
And
But we were in this discussion going back and forth that they were or they're not. So I'm just trying to clarify it, period.
well,
I
now
don't,
that you've clarified, I just
evidently the
don't
words
think
that
that-
are in this ordinance is not clear due to the discussions that were going on. And I think the terms I put in there made it more than clear.
okay, that's fine.
JP Lenning?
Well, it would be pretty clear to figure out if they're county employees or not, who signs your check.
Any other discussion? Citizen comment?
Oh, whoa, you're only talking about an amendment.
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you, appreciate that. Having a motion to amend, thank you. I'm gonna get you a set of reins. Motion to amend by myself. Second, I already got a second by JP Koger. To add, as the last sentence, all county employees are eligible to participate in the STEP compensation plan. All those in favor, aye? Aye. All those opposed? Thank you. JP Ecke, I think you had an amendment. I kept interrupting.
Yes, I do. In light of Attorney Mark Whitmore's email that he sent out specifying exactly the authority that is between the county judge, irregardless of personalities, and the quorum court and other elected officials. I need to make a motion to it's a transfer of budget positions from the sheriff's office to the county judge's office. Currently, there are 3 positions listed under the sheriff's budget. Due to recent developments and legal clarification from Mark Whitmore, it's necessary to relocate these positions to fall under the authority of the county judge. And they are the maintenance manager, 0418600, the sheriff's maintenance technician 1, 0418601, and sheriff's maintenance technician 2, 0418602. Mark Whitmore's legal opinion has provided critical guidance to this matter. According to his interpretation, the Arkansas Constitution and associated statutes clearly assign the custody and control of all county property and buildings to the county judge. This includes the responsibility to oversee I'm not going to go there on that. The alignment with the legal authority, the Arkansas Constitution designates that the county judge has the official responsibility for county property and buildings and loan. Therefore, I make a motion to transfer these positions to the county judge. Now, when it comes to personnel, all affected personnel desiring to remain in the sheriff's department may do so. This is not talking about personnel and people moving from one department to the other. It is putting these 3 positions back where they constitutionally and lawfully should be, under buildings and grounds. So that is my motion to amend. Thank you.
Thank you. So I have a motion to amend this ordinance by JP Ecke, seconded by JP Rio Stafford, to transfer the budget positions from the sheriff's budget to the county judge's budget. The positions being the maintenance manager, the sheriff maintenance tech 1, and the sheriff maintenance tech 2. Discussion? JP Koger.
I didn't understand the first one. You said business manager?
Maintenance manager.
Maintenance manager.
Maintenance manager.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry. Am I slurring? JP Dennis?
A little explanation on why it needs to be done.
Do you want to?
Looks like that if they're located in the sheriff's office, they should be answering to who's there in the sheriff's office, not someone up here.
Because when we reached out to Mark Whitmore, the AAC attorney.
I don't know who he is. So.
He is the AAC attorney, and we submitted for review a particular ordinance. He has cited Amendment 55, saying that buildings and grounds are under the county judge according to Arkansas Constitution and he also confides control and custody of all property and all buildings. These positions are maintenance and buildings and ground positions. They are not jail and law enforcement positions. This has nothing to do with our current sheriff. This was done prior to he being elected, and has nothing to do with anything else other than they were moved out of the judge's authority as county judge, and these need to be put back because that is constitutionally legal and correct. And to keep them out, it's like he said, you may adopt that you do this, but you're opening yourself up to challenges and scrutiny and legally constitutional considerations for all of this. So there are certain positions that are under the county judge, and there are certain positions that are under each elected official. These were taken out from under the judge and placed within the sheriff's budget prior to this current administration and sheriff and judge. When this decision came, when this opinion came down, I was questioning the constitutionality of these positions being where they are. We're not talking about personnel, we're talking about positions. It's the maintenance goes under buildings and grounds. The maintenance and
Who
the custody of that.
evaluates them?
Pardon?
Who evaluates their performance?
Each elected official evaluates the performance of the individual, but we're not talking about personnel. We're talking about positions.
I
Okay.
can't separate the two in my mind, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's the positions that should belong under the county judge. Now, the personnel that are in these positions now, if they don't want to go into the county judge's office, the sheriff will make room for them in his office, and they can remain under the county sheriff. If they don't want to move, they can stay exactly where they are. If they like working under that elected official, he says, I've got positions available for them. So we're not shifting personnel really from one elected official to the other. They want to stay with the sheriff. I don't blame them. Stay with the sheriff. But these positions, constitutionally and legally, should be under the county's judge's authority. And that's just the way it is. And what I'm trying to do in making this amendment is to make us legally secure in what we're doing and the decisions we're making. I don't want to open us up to legal challenges and scrutiny and lawsuits. So it's just something that has to be done. And even though it's like, Sheriff Cantrell said, well, Craighead office, counterpart's doing that, but that doesn't make it legal, and that doesn't make it constitutional. And it's outlined who has authority over all the buildings and grounds, and those positions, and that's why I'm making this amendment.
Just for information, I believe what you're reading from, JP Eki, was handed out at the County Services Committee meeting, correct? So
Correct.
You would have gotten this at the County Services when other discussions were happening a week ago, just for reference. JP Bruns?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is totally ridiculous, and it's election time, and all of a sudden we get all these requests. I, for one, that have worked in law enforcement till I retired, and you're asking for somebody to be put into a position where they're working on cars that, or supplies for the police department that could be in top secret. And that is, you think it's funny, Mr. Lastry?
I don't have a position on this, but let me just say this from a historical standpoint. Up until 2018, these positions were not in the county sheriff's budget. Judge Wood and Sheriff Helder at the time determined to, or talked and put these positions that were in buildings and grounds over into the sheriff's budget because of the budget numbers and getting those budget numbers down. So that was what was happening. So up until that time, these top secret positions were not in the county sheriff's budget.
Mm-hmm.
They were in the county judge's budget. What J.P. Ecke is saying is the Constitution clearly defines that county property is the responsibility of the county judge. So whether this court wants to put them back over there or not, I don't think it really has any effect because constitutionally, that all lies with the county judge. So that's why I was laughing because no, this is not historically how it's been because I was here when this happened. I remember those conversations that went on. I remember sitting in the meeting with Judge Wood and Sheriff Helder talking about this. So no, that is not, this isn't some crazy thought that she has. That's literally how the county had done it since the jail was built up until 2018.
Well, I appreciate that clarification. I will say your attitude stinks. And
What's your point of order?
JP must refrain from making personal comments and maintain decorum. In other words, behave while you're on this court.
point of order.
So I apologize. I didn't hear a personal comment made to anybody. Maybe I missed it. If I did, I apologize. What I heard was not directed to any person.
I did. If you want to deny the point of order, that's fine.
Yeah, that's not the way I understood it. And again, if I missed it, I apologize. But do you have additional items,
Yes,
discussion points on?
I think they worked for many years prior to 2017 to get those positions in a place where they were able to have security and daily security by the sheriff's office. And that's the rationale behind getting them there. And I think that us moving them without a Attorney General's opinion on, I think is, and again, I hear your right hand going off, and I don't appreciate it. But I think that that we need to get somebody of, like the Attorney General to give us an opinion if we're going to say we constitutionally are against or doing something against the law. That's the constitutional experts in the state of Arkansas. And so that's where I think it needs to go. There's only a 3-day lapse if once we get a request to get an opinion, so I think that we could do that. Thank you.
Thank you. J.P. Brio Stafford.
Thank you, Chair. A couple months ago, this quorum court decided to ask the opinion, a legal opinion of the Arkansas Association of Counties, that we pay a subscription to them every year, and they provide these legal services. And so we decided to take advantage of that. They came back and they told us that their legal opinion is that constitutionally, maintenance positions belong under the Buildings and Grounds Department, which is where they were for many, many years prior to 2018 when they were moved. So we asked for that opinion. We got the answer back. And now it seems like we want to move the goalposts and try to get another opinion because we didn't like the opinion. And then what if that opinion comes back and there's no 3-day limit with the Arkansas Attorney General. They're not limited to just 3 days. I don't know where that came from. There's no 3-day limit for them to get something back. It could be weeks, it could be months, it could be never. But if we don't like that opinion, who are we going to ask next? The governor, the federal government? I think we just need to face reality and, we asked for this legal advice, we got the legal advice, and now the question is whether we're going to follow the legal advice. And my opinion is yes, we should.
J.P. Wilson?
Thank you, Chair. I don't question the need to have this discussion. Discussion probably needs to take place. I don't know if, I'm not feeling a sense of urgency to resolve the entire matter this evening, though, and I may be wrong. I don't know if it has to be addressed via an amendment to this ordinance. And I'm just throwing that out there for everyone's consideration. I fully admit I may be wrong, but I have those questions before we were to move on with a firm decision on that tonight. Sometimes I think individuals and this body, this committee, needs time to absorb some things before moving ahead. So I'm not in a hurry, but I would welcome the discussion. Thank you.
Other discussion? J.P. Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I just have a question, just want to get some clarity. So for the 3 positions that were mentioned, the maintenance manager, the maintenance technician 1, and technician 2, so if we vote tonight to move those positions back to the county judge's budget, are we saying that those 3 people, if they decide that they do not want to work in that department, that they can choose to stay in the sheriff's department, but will they have to find another position? That's what I'm unclear about.
If I may, I spoke with Sheriff Cantrell because I didn't want to blindside him. I wanted to let him know, this is what's coming up, and this is what has to be done. What of the employees? He goes, well, I know that those employees are going to want to stay in the sheriff's department. And I said, do you have positions available for them? He goes, yes, we do, and we'll make room for them because they want to stay working for me in the sheriff's department. And I said, that's great. That works out tremendously. What I'm trying to separate is they'll be taken care of. They're not going to, nobody's getting fired. Nobody's going to be out of a job. It's those positions that are going to be moved over. If they want to stay, they can stay. It's that simple. Thank you for bringing that up.
J.P. Lemming.
I just want to read this right here. It's pretty easy just to pull it up, Google it. The Arkansas Constitution itself does not specify details, provisions for buildings and grounds employees.
What employees?
That's what it says. Okay.
J.P. Massengale.
Yeah, so my opinion, this seems like a complicated issue that needs a little time to understand. I don't feel like it's appropriate to be passing this on an amendment to the budget. Thank you.
J.P. Dean.
Yeah, if these, if this is moved and the employees want to stay with the sheriff's department, do they hire new employees? Are we going to be paying for more help to take care of this?
Based on what I've heard, I don't think so. I think what it does, and Sheriff, Counselor J.P. Ecke, correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm hearing is the funding for those positions get moved to the judge's budget. If they want to stay working at the sheriff's office, he has positions they can fill, do exactly what they're doing, and it's going to be paid for out of the sheriff's budget. No? I'm wrong? Okay. Can you help?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah. Can you help us then, please?
I'll sure try. So I think what the sheriff was referring to is they would have a job. It would be, they would not be doing exactly what they would be doing. There would be positions as jailers or officers or something like that, not doing exactly what they're doing or not even close to what they're doing in their positions today.
Appreciate that. Appreciate the correction.
Okay, so do we have somebody that can do these jobs if they're transferred back to the judge? Does he have somebody for the jobs?
That's up to him to decide. I mean, that's his.
Well, that's what I'm just wanting to know.
I'm sure.
I'm not afraid I totally understand the question. If there's we already have a buildings and grounds team that coordinates with the sheriff's buildings and grounds team. If empty positions moved over, we would hire those just like any other buildings and grounds position to refill them. After some evaluation of staff and making sure that we're doing that as efficiently as possible.
All right.
Every time we have an open position in the county, well, let me back up. Every time we have a position open within my departments, we try to look at it, make sure, is this good for the county to refill? Do we need to maybe install some efficiencies here or what? What I'm saying is those would just be open positions and we would hire on the open market if they were vacant.
Okay, thank you.
Other discussion? Okay, so we have an amendment by J.P. Ecke, seconded by J.P. Rios. J.P. Bond.
I'm having a problem thinking this is a really appropriate timing for an amendment to amend the budget. I'd just soon, have some more time to consider this, more research. In the meantime, not let this drag on and get in the way of passing a budget this late in the year. Thank you.
Other discussion? Okay, so we do have a motion on the floor that we've been discussing to amend the budget by J.P. Ecke, seconded by J.P. Rio Stafford, to move the positions of Maintenance Manager, Sheriff Maintenance Tech 1, Sheriff Maintenance Tech 2, from the sheriff's budget to the county judge's budget. All those in favor, aye? Aye. All those opposed? No. I think the noes have it. Sorry? Okay. That does not pass. J.P. Koger?
Yes, thank you. It's my understanding that's done, so I would like to make an amendment to the budget at this time. It concerns the sheriff's budget, fund number 3017, line item number 4004. They're asking for $474,000 for to add stuff for the COVID mitigation project. We've already funded that at $18.8 million, and the last time there was a vote on jail expansion, the voters voted 60% against that. My motion is to remove the $474,000 from that line item, which would make that line item be $193,000.
Do you have this written by any chance?
193.
Do you have this written down by any chance?
No, I don't. I'm sorry. I can write it down.
Sorry?
3016.
The fund is 3017.
4004.
And the line item is 4004, machinery and equipment. And it's under their related capital needs and their justification, $474,000.
So 3017, okay. And then line item 4004. Yeah, we're not finding anything in that line item.
Here, I thought I was gone by. The 4004, and it's for 667 for 20, and it includes the 474,000.
This is 3017, other services, 4004.
The one that's attached to tonight wasn't, is this the one that was attached to the agenda tonight? I'm not showing anything here. But that's fine, I'll write it down.
Are you in the maintenance, or are you in the other one?
I'm in the 3017.
Sorry?
What page? Could you do that again, Brian?
Go down to 4004. I don't.
257.
I don't know, but.
Okay.
Are you on
Let me
page,
just write it.
are you on page 257?
This is off the internet, so I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, and so,
Okay, 43017.
3017.
is it on yours either?
404.
Yeah, it is, it's on mine, Brian.
Okay, and we're removing how much?
474,000, it's at the top of the page.
Okay, I just want to make sure I get it right.
Yes.
Yes, here, and this is the PDF from the.
Okay, that's fine.
We good? Okay. Where am I? This is an amendment. Okay,
Oh, I see. It was on this one. Right here.
it's weird. I have a motion from JP Koger to amend the sheriff's budget, Fund 3017, line item 4004, to change that from 667,000 to 193,000, removing 474,000. Did I have a second? At least I didn't think I had one. Okay, so I have an amendment by JP Koger, seconded by JP Lopez. Discussion? JP Ria Stafford?
I'm still lost. Could I get a page number on the agenda?
257. Yeah, if you're looking for this in the agenda packet, it's page 257.
So this is gonna be, the fund is the 3017, and then the sub-fund number is 1418. It's gonna, on the agenda packet, it's gonna be the last budget before you get to the, letter, the explanation, budget explanations.
Discussion?
Okay, sorry.
No,
Now that I found
You
it,
have the floor still.
sorry, now that I found it, could I just get an explanation of what we're doing again? I was searching for it for so long.
I'm sorry, I didn't. Do you
Didn't
want
hear
to,
it either.
why does she amend to remove it? Is that your question? Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, my reasoning is because we've appropriated 18.8 million to the sheriff's office for the COVID mitigation project. And I just think that's enough, that then they're coming and asking for 474,000 to finish out part of the shelving or it's in their justification, they've got it broken down. But I just think that they should live within that $18.8 million budget, and that we shouldn't be appropriating additional taxpayer dollars for that, considering especially that, like I said, the last time the jail expansion was on the budget, it was defeated by almost 60%. I don't think the taxpayers of Washington County want to invest any more in that. That's my reasoning. Thank you.
Discussion? JP Lemon?
That's why the jail's in such a mess. That's why we need to let the sheriff build what he needs and let's get her done so we'll have things for people to be there.
JP Wilson?
A lot of times in this room and out in the community and almost anywhere else the topic comes up, people say the voters voted against any jail expansion, but we don't know if they voted against an expansion or against a tax. So we don't know that they voted against a jail expansion, but we can use money now that has already come into the treasury and spend it the way it's appropriated. It doesn't involve a new tax on anyone. They did vote against a new tax when they voted, but I don't think they said, by golly, don't you expand that jail. I mean, that you have to read a lot into it to come to that conclusion. So I'm fine with the budget as it is. Thank you.
Other discussion? JP Rio Stafford?
Okay, so now that I found it, I'm looking at the justification letter. Just on 4004, and just correct me if I'm wrong, right? So the 175,000 that it's listed in there under 4004, I'm on page 264 of our agenda packet. 264? Yes. So Washington County Sheriff's Office 2026 Capital Request Summary. It's talking about the 175,000 going to replace the rooftop HVAC units, not for the COVID mitigation project.
Going down a couple pages. Go down 2 more pages.
Oh, okay. Okay, never mind. Let me keep reading.
So it's all these line items that add up to that. Am I understanding this correctly? So all of there's 3 or 4 difference for smaller amounts, but that's what that 667 is paying for, correct? Okay.
I believe so.
Okay. Other discussion? So I have a motion to amend the sheriff's budget, Fund 3017, line item 4004, to reduce that from 667,000 to 193,000. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. All those opposed? No. I think that fails. Okay. If no other amendments, do I have a motion?
Motion.
To move it, to take it to full quorum required to do pass recommendation?
Second.
Thank you. So I have a motion from JP Dean to move item 19 to the full quorum court to do pass recommendation, second by JP Lopez. Any other discussion? Citizen comment. I'm sorry, give me just a minute. I apologize. JP Rio Stafford.
I did have one question, just to go back to the amendment that we did pass in terms of all the county employees being eligible to participate in the STEP plan. And this may be a question for either the prosecutor, I think the public defender is not here. Is the practical effect of this? Oh, they are, okay. Is the practical effect of this, I know that one of the recommendations of that 2020 criminal justice assessment was that we put, at least the ones that are funded by the county, to have parity between prosecutors and public defenders in terms of compensation. Does putting those folks on the STEP plan achieve that? Or is there some additional step we need to take?
We've already addressed that.
You've addressed that. Okay, great. All right, thank you very much.
I'm sorry, what was her answer?
She said, yes, that's already been addressed.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I
Okay,
tried.
perfect. Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Citizens comment.
Sherry Main, 15451 Riches Road, Fayetteville. I was asked today by someone, asked this question: why do I spend so much time reviewing the county budget? It isn't my job and it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter. My answer to that person was, it does matter. It matters to me. The budget matters to me. Does it matter to the 15 people sitting at this horseshoe? Does it matter that you are appropriating money of the citizens of this county for all of these budget items by not reviewing them? I went through the budget, and I haven't even got all the way through it, tabbing the departments and what the differences are, and asking questions as to why the budget's changed. I won't have time to go over all of them, and you probably won't care anyway, because most of you are just gonna approve it, rubber stamp it, move it on. Looking through the budget, there was appropriation for vacant positions on almost all of the departments, except for one, and that was the county judge. The county judge left a zero in the vacant position he has for the administrative assistant. So if he doesn't plan to hire this person before March, which he'd have to come back before you, this court, in March to ask for the appropriation for that position. If he doesn't want to hire until March and ask, that's fine. But I'm thinking if this is an open position and he has the vacancy open and he intends to hire someone, let's appropriate the money there in the budget. Why not? I think why he didn't in submitting his budget is because of fuzzy math. If you do the math and leave that out as a zero, he's under budget on what you're looking at. That looks good. Oh, check, judge is under budgeted. Well, there's reason in here in a lot of these departments as to why they're under budget or over budget so little. Have you looked into all of those? Has this body looked into all of those reasonings? I don't think so. In my calculations, the judge's budget would raise to $510,242 from $493,87. That would not be a negative 7 point something budget reduction. That would be an increase. So again, let's look at some fuzzy math when we're looking at these departments. I'm an accountant by trade. I can pour through this thing and like an audit and find things. It's not my job. I don't enjoy it. I have a lot of time to do other things, but I'm paying tax money. And y'all should be
Your time's up,
considering the
ma'am.
money the citizens are paying.
Thank
Like
you.
I said, I only got one out of my 6 tabs, I got through one.
Thank you, ma'am. Citizens comment. Okay, I have a motion to pass item 19 to the full quorum court to do pass recommendation by J.P. Dean, seconded by J.P. Lopez. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? No. It passes. J.P. Lopez.
I would like to move that we make a consent agenda of items 11 through 18. Oh, I'm sorry, 18 was tabled, so 11 through 17.
I'm sorry?
I would like to move that we form a consent agenda for items 11 through 17.
11 through 17. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Had a motion by JP Lopez to have a consent agenda for items 11 through 17, seconded by JP Ricker. Discussion? So all those in favor for consent agenda for items 11 through 17, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? That will be your consent agenda. Item 20, citizen comment. Total of 12 minutes, 3 minutes per person.
Good afternoon, Kenneth Lovett, Fayetteville, Arkansas. I just want to make sure it's clear, if it hadn't been already, I have zero confidence in the judge's ability to appropriately continue his job. I would like to ask the people in this horseshoe to consider making sure that the process is handled properly. And all I can do is depend on you to do that. But the accusations, the finger pointing, and the childish actions that continue to be showing up in every meeting is beyond my understanding. Thank you.
Citizen comment.
Bryson Austin, resident of Fayetteville. It's the last time you'll see me tonight. And I wanted to continue giving a little bit of background on returning home and Washington County's partnership going back to 2020, 2021. So Nick Robbins of Returning Home was co-chair of the CJCC from its beginning through its duration and had access to decision makers and information that the public did not have. In 2022, Returning Home was given an initial $315,000 from Washington County to have limited beds in Springdale leased to provide an alternative program for men instead of being incarcerated at the jail. In October of 22, while other nonprofits waited for the application process, Nick Robbins and Returning Home jumped to the front of the line at the jail law enforcement meeting with no ordinance asking for $1.6 million in ARPA funds to expand into over 20 men's beds. No mention of any details of the program, the location, the curricula to use, or any measurable outcomes and expectations. Then at the Finance and Budget meeting that month, an ordinance was put together for Returning Home to get the $1.6 million. And then at the Quorum Court meeting that month, Returning Home, again, jumped to the front of the line for ARPA funding, while all other nonprofits waited to apply for the process. No regular reports or full reporting are given on the CAP program. Both the financials of what was spent, nor the metrics and outcomes are reported. In September of 25, Nick Robbins popped up again in similar manner to 2022, panicked in a hurry, saying that the Quorum Court needed to give him $500,000 in general fund money immediately, or he couldn't take any more people into CAP that month. That's on record. The sky was falling. He said he needed funds for 2026. For October, in the 2025, the Quorum Court meeting, AJRC provided the Quorum Court the double dipping that would be taking place as the original ordinance and invoice state service through April 26 for the already approved and given ARPA money of $1.6 million. Nick Robbins and Returning Home story then changed. Well, we'll make do, but we still need this money approved now so we can make plans for the property that the taxpayers have spent COVID funds to have in place for Returning Home. The Quorum Court moved the dates of service to accommodate this request and approved May 26 to 2027 for a year of general funding to Returning Home for the CAP program, despite what is now shown to be bad accounting, fuzzy math, practices both at the Washington County level, which should serve as a check and balance, as well as within Returning Home. Returning Home was asked at that time to provide a detailed report of how they spent the money entrusted to them, and on the record, the Quorum Court admitted that they had mixed receipts and monies with other things and couldn't fully account for how the money had been spent and still were asking for money. I've also been poring over a few receipts, and something that Returning Home likes to spend money on is their pool, their grill, multi-$1,000 gazebos, and just fun event things. They love TVs and TV mounts.
Your time's up, sir. Thank you.
I'm back. Sherry Main, Riches Road, Fayetteville. I didn't get through all of this. There's no possible way I can, but I just want to have a couple of comments that I did find. On the budget 2026 revenue budget summary, on the bottom, it notates that the budgets reflect health insurance matching of $832 per position. But I heard Director Sherman say earlier it was more like $12,000 a year per employee, which is $1,000 per month. So if you do the math on that, around 600 employees, $2,000 shortage, that's $1.2 million. $1.2 million over two on health insurance. Health insurance scares me. This line item scares me greatly. And it should scare every one of you. Even on here, unappropriated reserve is already in a negative on this budget. It's going to be more of a negative. We can't stick our heads in the sand. We have to deal with the reality. Health insurance is going up. And if you're going to do a budget, let's get the numbers correct. Let's put on here what the actual expense is going to be by department. I checked a lot of these departments. Were they told to add $12,000 per employee per year that qualifies for health insurance? No. Some of them, if you count the number of employees, even the county judge, he has down 5 employees. But does he have $60,000 down as his number? $12,000 for 5 employees, that's simple math. No, he has $48,000. So his isn't even correct. His is already underfunded by $12,000. So I'm saying a budget is a budget. It's a bunch of numbers on some paper you put in here. Unless somebody looks at them, make sure they're accurate, make sure that the expenses match what the actual numbers are on here for the request. It's not hard math. Trust me. You can do it. I have faith that everyone around this horseshoe can go through this and do what I've done. But it takes time. I spent 6 hours on it today. 6 hours I didn't have. I'm not getting paid for. I'm at these meetings because I want to be here and it makes a difference. My JP, if he would do his duty, he could speak everything I'm saying. But he wouldn't. I could have a conversation with him, but he never does anything but second and sits on his hands. I haven't heard a good ordinance come out of him, and I'm not directing anything toward him. I'm just saying, let's pull the blinders off and get some work done. That's what you're here to do. Election season is coming up. And I may be on this table, I may not, but I'll guarantee you if I'm not, I will be right here at this podium telling the next 15 people
Thank
around
you,
this
ma'am.
horseshoe my opinions. Thank you.
Citizens comment.
Robert Dennis, Prairie Grove. Actually, I live right on the line, Farmington and Prairie Grove, so clear that up for you. In Arkansas, public conduct at a quorum court meetings is governed by general rules for public gatherings, but also specifically includes rules against disorderly conduct, which prohibits riotous or boisterous behavior, threatening language, or indecent attire, while regular legislative sessions or formal public hearings are designed to encourage public input, and the court can choose to include time for brief comments at the end of the meetings. Prohibited behaviors. It is against Arkansas rules to engage in riotous, boisterous, threatening, or indecent conduct, to use abusive, threatening, profane, or indecent language. I'm dressed like a preacher, so I wanted to preach a little bit, but I'm preaching to the public as well. I might have political differences with the judge, but I don't think you should turn and point at him and make faces at him as you leave this podium, which I've observed several times. And I'm going to do some more research on it, and I'm going to actually move that some people be censored or stopped from having public time if they act that way. And I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about the public now. You got to be decent when you come up and stand here and be respectful. or at least that's what I'm reading. Shouldn't have to even read it. Should be just natural, or be taught in school. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comment. Sheriff, deputy, remove him, please. Thanks, everyone. Committee's adjourned.